Now, I don't want you looking at me thinking, who is this guy? Why is he dressed up like a discount version of Steve Jobs? And why is he going to teach me about public speaking? When I came to Canada, this is not the version of me that I brought to Canada, okay? I remember when I had my first job, I was a very introverted person. I was in a new country. In my first job, my boss decides, Yasser, I'm going to send you to a different city, and you have to deliver this presentation in front of 200 executives. Now, I was excited, but how else do you think I was feeling? Terrified, right? So I'm at the airport. I land at the airport. I get in the cab. For 20 minutes, the cab driver says absolutely nothing. And then we hit traffic. Then he looks over at me and he asks the one question no one wants to be asked. What do you do? And in my mind, I'm a speaking coach, right? So I'm like, shit, what do I do? What do I say to this guy? I'm a speaker. That's all that came to my mind, right? So he looks over at me, and he's this like very jolly old Nigerian guy. I'm not gonna do the accent, it's gonna get me canceled. He looks at me and he's like, you're a speaker? Like a motivational speaker? I'm thinking, I guess that's part of what I do, but not entirely. I guess you could say that. He's like, wow, you're a motivational speaker. Motivate me. Like, bro, drive the car, get me to where I want to go. Right? So I was like, no, that's not what I do. I do corporate training and speaking training. He's like, wait, you speak about speaking? I said, yeah, I teach people how to speak in boardrooms. And people pay you for this? Yeah, that's what I do for a living. And then I swear, he looks away from me, he looks right in the front, puts one hand on the steering wheel, and this is exactly what he says. Canada. These people will pay for just about anything, won't they? Now, mind you, I'm going to my first speaking engagement, right? And this guy's like a demotivational speaker at this point. So now I get to the event, all right? I see these 200 executives. I'm 22 years old. I have no industry experience. I'm shit scared. I'm behind the curtain, and it's this large auditorium. And I'm sure you've done this. You have a big presentation coming up. You have all of your notes written down. Yes? Anyone done that? And I'm just reading it over and over again to make sure I say the words. So eventually they call my name. I go on stage. I have 15 minutes allotted to me. I blurt all the words out in 5.5 minutes because I was so nervous. Stepped off stage and I said, Yasser, you're an introvert. This is not your field. The fact that you just made it, you're still alive, you're good to go. Never do this again. We're okay. I felt good about myself. Until I went to get coffee. And as I'm getting coffee, this one individual comes to me. He looks like anyone know Harrison Ford from Indiana Jones? If he was Indian, that's what he looked like. Okay, I don't know why that's important, but just imagine that, okay? He comes over to me and he says, Yasser, after your presentation, I have one question. And I was like, I wasn't expecting any questions at all, but sure. If someone invited you to dinner, would you go empty-handed? I'm thinking, sir, did you pay attention to my presentation? What the hell are you talking about? Would you go empty-handed? No, I wouldn't go empty-handed. I'd take something with me. What would you take with you? Now I'm like, shit, what the fuck will I take with? I'll take a box of chocolates. Okay. Will you take it just like that? No, I'll wrap it in gift wrap, make it look nice, put a bow on it, and then take it. Okay. You take the gift to them, you give it to them. What do they do with it? They open it up and they eat the chocolates. And what do they do with the gift wrap? Toss it in the trash? And then he looks at me dead in the eye and said, that's what I did with your presentation. I tossed it in the trash. Because you gave me all the gift wrap, all the fluff, all this endless information, but you didn't give me the gift. What was the point of your presentation? And I was just like, no one's ever invited this guy to dinner, let's face it. I was like, why did he single me out? There were like 5 other presenters there. Why just come to me? Maybe I was the youngest one there, who knows? But I realized when I watched that talk back, I didn't sound like someone who sounded like he belonged on stage. I didn't sound like I had credibility. So similarly, when you speak on social media, when you speak to your clients, if you walk in with your reputation, they know who you are. Then speak gibberish, speak Swahili for all I care. No one cares. But if you walk into a room and people don't know who you are, the only way they will judge you and your credibility is based on what comes out of your mouth, based on how you speak. So my goal today is, by the end of today, we're going to try out many different exercises, almost like a sample platter. You see which techniques you need, which ones you don't need, you leave on the side. And by the end of it, you at least know what to work on. And at the end of the 3 hours, you've already seen a change in your public speaking. Would that be a good use of our time? Yes? Okay, fantastic. So here's what we will learn. We're going to learn something called, can everyone see the board, by the way, all angles? Okay. I know I've got a really thick back, so I might cover a little bit of the board, but should be okay. That's a casual bodybuilding joke there. Okay, CEO. These are 3 components that we will cover today. If you master even one of them, I promise you, you will speak better than 99% of the human population. For the remainder of this session, laptops closed, phones in your pocket, please. You will not be needing them today whatsoever. If I do my job correctly, you will remember everything because you've tried it. I'll say it again, laptop closed, phones in your pocket. Thank you. You will not be needing them for the rest of the session unless I ask you to. If you are checking your emails, you're not paying attention, and I feel disrespected. Can we make sure not to do that? Yes. Make contact? Oh, hell yeah, man, tag me. At Speaking with Yasir Khan. That's the only reason you can open your phone, okay? If I catch you when I say, show me your story, I better be tagged. Okay, so at Speaking with Yasir. Now everyone's gonna take their phone out. Okay, let's start with the C. Real quick, look at me as if I stole something from you, okay? Just pay close attention to me. Please put your phone down. Just look at me. Believe me, you can survive 30 seconds without your phone. Look at me. I'm going to give you some instructions, and I want you to follow them to a T. I will only say them one time, okay? So pay close attention to what I say. Ready? Take your right hand and place it straight up in the air like so, completely straight. No bending the elbow. Take your index finger, point it at the ceiling like so. Now take your index finger and place it on your chin. Hold it there really tightly. Look at the person next to you now, and I want you to say, that's not your chin. So for those of you who are confused, I said, place it on your chin. But I placed it on my cheek. What did 90% of you do? I don't know if you did it first or later, but I saw the finger here. You might have been the only one in the room. Maybe you as well, or you. Okay, so by the way, some of you did this. I don't know what that'll, I don't know who you were looking at. Why did you do this and not this, even though I said pay close attention to what I say? Why did you do it? Because you saw me. Again? Visually, yes. Remember this. Actions speak louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. When we're going into a sales conversation, a presentation, what do we think about? What do I say? What are the words, right? Do we ever think about what do I look like when I say them? How do the words sound when they come out of my mouth? So that's the first part we're going to focus on. If you are trying to speak like a CEO, whether you are one or not, the CEO means you are someone who has a vision, who wants to change behavior, who wants to speak with assertiveness and get people to act in a certain way. If you want to do that, the C is for control. What does this mean? You must look and sound like you are in control when you are speaking. So in order for you to understand what this looks like, I'm going to give you a really shitty speech for about 60 seconds, okay? And I want you to tell me whether I sound in control or not, and specifically, what about my body and my voice tells you if I'm in control or not, okay? Can someone give me a really stupid topic to talk about? It could be anything, like bananas, laundry, whatever. Give me any random topic. Donald Trump. You want to get me canceled, don't you? Can we get a little less intense topics? By the way, last time someone said funeral, now Donald Trump. Like, what's happening in your lives, guys? Something a little lighthearted. FIFA, okay. So I'm going to do a 30-second speech on FIFA. It's going to be a shitty speech, but you tell me whether it sounded in control or not, okay? I'm going to walk off stage. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1. Give me a round of applause, and I'll get on stage, all right? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. So my name is Yasser. Today I'm going to be talking about FIFA, the World Cup. So I don't really watch football a lot, but when I watch it every time, I watch it for Ronaldo, I'll watch it for Messi. I don't even know if they're playing in the World Cup right now, but so it's exciting. A lot of people are watching the World Cup these days, and a lot of people from North America are watching it now. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know what you did, but it looked like you were doing this. I want to. I was like, I want to kill myself. I hate this. Okay. Did I look like I was in control? Why not? Let's start with my body. What was I doing?
You weren't taking control over the stage the way you did when you walked in here.
Okay. So you're saying I was stuck in place?
Yeah.
Okay, that's one. What else? Yes?
I think body language and your tone as well was quite low.
You mean my volume?
Yeah.
Okay, so you couldn't really hear what I was saying?
No,
All right, yes?
Volume was low, we could sense the confidence of this.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
Your hand movements.
What was I doing with my hands?
Putting it in your palms.
Remember that, we're gonna bring that up later. Very, very good point.
You used a lot of filler words.
Okay. And why is that a problem? If I say or what's the issue?
I personally, I
Yeah,
think confidence. I think what we are saying, we don't have that clarity in our thoughts.
So it's like, I don't quite know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying words out loud. Okay, what else?
I think it was one single tone.
Monotone.
There was no going up or down.
Right.
Sounded very flat.
Right. Now you saw a version of me that started this presentation, and you saw a version of me that just did that speech. I'm the same person. All I did was implement two different behaviors. So similarly, you can also just change a behavior and change the way people perceive you. Can you imagine if I started that second way? Like, hey everyone, Navjot invited me today to do this presentation. And you guys would have been like, bro, send this guy back to Pakistan. Who is this guy? Right? You flew me out from BC, from Langley, just for this shit? Right? Right? So when I show up here, I have to have a certain presence, otherwise you won't respect me. So you have to look and sound like you're in control. Let's start with the looking part. By the way, the last time I did this, I asked someone, what was I doing wrong when I did that presentation? And someone said, your face. How do I fix that? Where do I even go? Okay, so first you want to speak with control. We're going to talk about our body. We're going to talk about body language, but in a much more simplistic way. If you're anything like me, your social media is flooded with body language tips and don't do this with your hands, don't cross your arms, look here. You can't remember all of that, right? So here's a simple framework that can teach you everything you need to know about body language. I'm going to unpack it for you, all right? It's a box with four options here, 4 components. If you're thinking about body language, you just need to answer 2 questions, okay? The first question is my behavior controlled or uncontrolled? Is my behavior controlled or uncontrolled? Uncontrolled would be, hey, what's going on, everybody? Really excited to be here. I'm so nervous. I don't know what to do with my hands, so I just keep moving, and this shows a lot of fidgety energy. I don't look like I'm in control. Control is the opposite. As I'm moving, you can see my gestures are deliberate. Whatever I'm saying is synchronized to my body. Can you observe that? Yes? Control movement. Then you have, are you suppressive or are you expressive? So you have 4 components here, A, B, C, D. Let's start with suppressive. When people are really nervous, the first thing they'll do is they'll hide themselves as much as possible, right? I'll suppress my voice. I'll go really quiet. I don't want to be noticed. If I'm very low in my volume, maybe people won't notice and I'll feel really safe. And when I do that, my body also closes down, right? Everyone, how's it going? I'm going to hide my hands behind here. I'm trying to keep myself safe. This does not signal authority, right? Expressive is the opposite. You're expressing yourself, you're opening your body, your hands are visible. This one, if you're uncontrolled and expressive, it looks like this. Okay, imagine I started my presentation. I'm very expressive with my hands, but I talk like this. Hey everyone, really excited to be here. So today we're going to talk about the first thing, which is the model for our body language. So, we're going to talk about, I'm expressive, but did it look like it was in control? No, right? What does it signal to you when I speak like that? What conclusion do you make in your mind about me? I'm not in control, yes. Still handsome, but not in control. Thank you. Aggressive. How so? That's the first time I've heard that.
Towards, like, your way of speaking, I don't know how to explain, but my first thought was like,
Yeah, but
very aggressive towards
think
the
so
crowd.
too. I think
Aggressive.
so. I agree with him. So
Okay.
It would make me uncomfortable.
I was looking for that word, and you don't want to be around someone who makes you uncomfortable, right? So this is Frantic Movement. You don't want to be here. And I'll give you a quick story about this. I had really bad lower back problems, to the point where I didn't even travel because it was so bad. I searched the best chiropractor for my back issue, and he was in Vaughan, which is 2 hours away from where I live. So I went there, and this guy had like the best reviews I've ever seen. I walked in, the moment he saw me, oh, you must be Yasser, right? You're here for the 2 p.m. appointment, come on in, come in my room, and he's just like talking nonstop again and again. By the way, it's gonna be $3,000, you can break it down into this many payments. I'm like, dude, relax. Do you have a train to catch? Like, what's going on? It made me nervous. And because of that, I never went back. He might have been the best, but when I was around him, he was so frantic that it scared me. I was like, bro, you're trying to sell me so bad that it's too uncomfortable for me to bear. So I never went back. So you don't want to be frantic. Then you have your uncontrolled and suppressed. This is probably the worst place you can be. Most of you aren't here. You won't be here in your sales calls either. But this is Frozen, like the movie with Elsa. So, how's it going, everyone? Really excited to meet you. What I will tell you guys, a lot of us immigrants, we really suffer from this. When we go to a foreign country, for some reason in the back of our mind, not all of us, we think we have to put our head down, bow down, and just adapt to society, right? I'm sure everyone's felt that. So we want to be safe all the time. Like if I speak too much in a meeting, I might get noticed, I might say the wrong thing, or if I express myself too much, I should just do the work and put my head down. So then we end up talking like this, and how are you? I'm looking for a job. Is anything available? Does this scream confidence to you? Would someone buy a house from someone who talks like that? No, right? Yes.
And this is actually, the frozen is something our clients do to us when we're trying to get feedback from them. They freeze, and we have to unfreeze them somehow. We're trying to get feedback about
So if they're frozen, what does it tell you?
That I'm not making them feel good.
That's exactly right? Because their guard is up. They feel like they're not psychologically safe in that situation to tell you what they want to tell you. How often has someone tried to sell you something and you say, oh, I want to think about it, I'll let you know, right? All the time, right? Why do you say it? Because you don't want to have that confrontation. I want to delay the decision so I can ghost them and never talk to them again. Let's face it, that's what we want to do, right? It's because I'm too uncomfortable to talk to you about it. Now, this specifically in your situation is on a call. Rarely will you find yourself frozen. Then you have expressive and suppressive. For this, can I get a quick volunteer? Raise your hand if you're a confident individual. Come on out. What's your name? What's your name? Arco. All right, give him a hand, please. Give Arco a hand. I'm not going to have you speak. I just want to demonstrate something really quickly, okay? Arco, do you remember what you had for breakfast?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to just stare at the wall, okay? No expression whatsoever. Just hands by your side, completely neutral. I want you to say, my name is Arco, and I had whatever you had for breakfast. Just say that one sentence.
My name is Arco, and I did not have anything for breakfast.
Okay, fantastic news. So, I just want you to take a visual image of what he looked like when he said the phrase, okay? I'm going to change a couple of things about him. Let's take your hands and let's put them here now, okay? Now, when you say the same thing, open your hands and come back.
My name is Arco, and I did not have anything for breakfast.
Take that visual image in your mind again, all right? You see this little space between the elbows, right? Can I touch you? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to get sued, bro.
Okay.
Okay. If I pinch them together, say the same thing.
My name is Arco, and I did not have anything for breakfast.
Did you perceive him differently when his elbows were tucked? Yeah. What did you perceive? And what did it tell you about his credibility? The difference is this. That's it. But can you see how big of a difference it made in your credibility? I look like a chicken doing this. But that's just the elbows, okay? So try when you stand in a meeting, you're not standing like this. The closer you are, the more tense you are. You're doing it perfectly. Have a little bit of space here. Let's try it again, all right? Elbows close. Now let's bring these hands up here. Same exact thing.
My name is Orko, and I did not have anything for breakfast.
Who said that? He's praying, like, please save me. Why am I here? This Yasser guy brought me on stage. Get me out of here, right?
I gave so much money to Yasser.
Yeah, oh my God. Find me another profession, please. Namjud, why? The words were the same, were they not? All that changed was his hand position. And you perceived him differently. Let's try one more thing if that's okay, all right? Take your hands, place them behind your back. Let's do a little leg curl over here, like so. It's okay. And then a little bit of sway, like so. Let's try again.
My name is Orko. and I didn't have anything for breakfast.
Give him a hand, everybody. Give him a hand. That was it. Please. But can you see how just a few movements completely change how you perceived him? And also, more importantly, when he changed his hand position, his behavior changed. Where his hands were placed, his tone changes. I didn't tell him to change it, but automatically it did. So you want to be someone who's here, who's expressive, open like he was the first time, okay? Lastly here, controlled and suppressive. Why would you want to be suppressive on purpose? I'm going to change the way I speak, okay? I want you to take a good look at how I speak, what my tone is. I'm speaking like this right now. Natural and ideal, expressive and controlled. Now I'm going to go from expressive to all of a sudden being a lot more suppressed. I'm still going to speak with a lot of control. I'm going to speak quite directly with you, but you will notice I'm not expressing myself as much. Do I sound like I have more authority when I speak like this? But would you agree, it also makes me sound a little less approachable? Sometimes we take this version into our client meetings. More mechanical. It sounds like an FBI director, right? So if you're talking to a prospect, this is not the version that should be in the room with a prospect, right? Imagine going to a doctor, hey, I need some medication. Yes, you do need medication. You are incredibly ill, right? So this is your authoritative. There's a room for this when you're negotiating, when you want to put your foot down, you want to be assertive, but 99 times out of 10, you can tell I failed math. 9 times out of 10, you don't want to take this into a client conversation where you're building rapport, okay? So far, making sense? Yes? Okay. Just a quick audit, and it's completely okay to just identify yourself with one of them. Raise your hand if you think you're a B here. Okay. 2 people are B. Raise your hand if you are a D here. 1 person. Raise your hand if you were a C. Perfect. And then rest of you must be an A. Some hands didn't go up at all. You just don't have limbs that would, okay. Perfect. So most of you are here. All we want to do with body language, I'm not saying just move your hands for the sake of it. You don't have to do that. Just don't be on this side. Don't have uncontrolled movement, flailing your arms, and don't be frozen. As long as you can be on this side, you should be okay. All right? Now that you've understood this concept, let's try it out. It's one thing to intellectually know it, it's another thing to try it. We're going to break into groups of 3. How many people do we have here? Okay. It's fine. What you're going to do, 3 of you are going to group together. 1 person, instead of sitting here, is going to come and stand in front of the other 2 people like so, okay? And you're just going to describe in 60 seconds the layout of your house. So I have this many rooms, this many bathrooms, blah, blah. You guys are good at it. You talk about real estate all day, every day. All I'm looking for is if you are in any of these, you want to try to move to A. And if you're watching your teammate, you want to look for any of this. Do they do any of this? Is their behavior uncontrolled? Do they talk really fast? What's happening there, okay? So once again, the assignment is each person, for 30 to 60 seconds, describe the layout, try to be controlled with your movement. The other 2 people will give you feedback on your movement. The next person will be back in 5 minutes, okay? Clear? All right, 3, 2, 1, let's pair up in 3s and let's do it. Right. All right, now just tell us about your home layout. 30 seconds, let's go.
All right, so I have a 3,000 square feet house. It's a 40 feet by 130 feet lot. It has a walkout basement. And when we enter the house, it's a double garage, but when we enter the house, it's a beautiful foyer. Think of the windows and then double it. That's how big the windows are, and they are on all four corners of the house. It has 4 bedrooms, and the beauty of it is that one of the bedrooms, which is for my parents, is on the main floor.
Okay, pause. Where does he fit? Okay? Anything you can think that he can improve with his body language.
And the little movement was a little more than what he usually does, because I know how he speaks.
Okay. But he's nervous around me. Like, it's like- by the way, someone was giving feedback here. I don't know who it was, but he said, yeah, the body looked nice. So, a really weird thing to say for feedback. Okay, what else do we notice about him?
I think he's moving in circles.
Interesting.
Like, technically, I know how he speaks. Navjot goes front and back, normally.
Yeah.
When he wants to say something.
Yeah.
But today he was moving in circles is because there is something consciously going in his mind. And that is like
So his mind is going in circles, so his body is going in circles. Is that right? Yeah? Maybe he lives in a circle house too, who knows?
to speak, he goes like this.
Interesting.
I think he was
Today is going
consciously trying to address everyone. That's why he was trying
Maybe.
to hit all 4 corners.
Maybe,
And
yeah.
also, I felt that his body posture was not straight. He was leaning towards the front.
Did you perceive him differently because of that behavior? Maybe. Okay. That's when we want to know if the behavior needs to change. If he just does that and you still perceive him as confident, then who cares? Why make a small change? In my books, not a huge issue. The only thing I would say is slow it down a touch. Moving quite fast, just like you said. The faster you move, the faster information is coming at me, the more nervous I get. Slow it down a touch, look more in control. All right, my man. Give him a round of applause, please. Had fun? Yeah? Okay, just a couple of people share with me, when you got feedback, was any of the feedback surprising, something you didn't notice about yourself until it was pointed out? No? So most of us were accurate. Did you notice anything about someone else when they were speaking? Which one they fitted to? English-speaking room, right? Yeah. Okay, making sure. Any observations? Yes.
He was speaking.
Okay.
He was controlled, but he was fast, so it didn't set authority. That's what I thought.
The way he was speaking,
Yeah,
right?
so I don't know which quarter to put him in.
So all of this is just body language. We haven't even touched the voice yet. We're doing that next. Was his body moving as fast as his words?
I don't think so. Like hands.
Okay.
But yeah.
If nothing stood out, then it probably wasn't a problem, right? Just in my observation, most of you are really good at this. So as long as you just know, I need to look like I'm in control when I'm speaking, you're good. Now we're going to get into the real problem that most of us in this room will definitely have, and that's how we actually speak, what comes out of our mouth, all right? Now, unfortunately, a lot of us have never been trained to speak, so we don't know how to do it. Most people, when they're asked a question on the spot, let's say you ask me, can you ask me, how did you get into public speaking? If I was a shitty speaker, this is what I would say. Yeah, so I got into public speaking very long ago. I always wanted to do something with my life, and I didn't know what else to do with my life. So eventually I started public speaking, and then people started paying me for this, and then I thought, okay, I can make a career out of it. Just go on and on. You know what I'm talking about, right? How do you feel when I talk like that? Boring, thank you very much. Hopefully you're talking about just the last 30 seconds. Okay, what else? Yeah, just change the channel. And next thing you know, there's like a salsa class happening here. What is that? Yeah, so in terms of how I was speaking, what was the problem? What was I doing wrong? Same tone, okay. No pauses, right? So how do you perceive me when I speak like this? What conclusion do you come up?
You want to just get done with it.
Not
Yeah.
a good listener. Just rambling.
Do I sound like I know what I'm talking about? No, right? Rambling was the best word. Well, that's even worse, right? Now we see all these ChatGPT scripts. It's not this, it's that. Not just this, not just that, just that. I'm like, just shut up. I've heard the same script on every LinkedIn post, every YouTube video. Man, I just like scroll off. Anyway, excuse my cursing. I'm really passionate about this. So, when you speak like this, it shows that you're too eager to talk, especially in a sales conversation. I can't stop talking. I can't control myself. I want to get all of the words out. Now, I'm going to give you a revolutionary technique, okay? And this will fundamentally change how you sound. It's very complicated, so I hope you understand it, all right? Here it is. When you speak and you say a sentence or a phrase, at the end of the phrase, you shut your mouth. That's it. That's the whole technique. At the end of the phrase, you shut your mouth. So what's going to happen is, instead of blah, 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 you're going to have breaks. So here's a quick example, all right? If I did it without the pauses, I want you to pay close attention to my mouth and how it closes at the end of the sentence, all right? If I did it without it, I would say, hey everyone, my name is Yasser, and today I'm here to teach you about public speaking, and hopefully you learn a couple of things from this presentation. I put a lot of effort into this kind of work, and I've been doing this for a very long time, and hopefully you like it. One long sentence, right? Now, as I am talking, I want you to observe what happens to my mouth. At the end of each phrase, I pause for just a little bit. My mouth closes and opens back up. Just enough time for a pause. What does it do for my credibility when I speak like this? Does it make me sound less credible or more credible? All I am doing is giving you half a second in between my sentences to process what I've just said and get ready for what I'm about to say. And it doesn't seem like I'm rushed, right? So all you're doing is, at the end of a phrase, you just pause. You close your mouth physically. Now, once you've trained yourself to close your mouth, then you can leave it open. But I find most people who try to pause at the end of the sentence, because their mouth is open, like those words just naturally come out because most of us are not comfortable with silence, all right? What I'd like you to do now, just where you're sitting, I'm gonna ask you to just start naming things in this room that you see. So you can say something like, this is a white table, this is a ceiling light, this is a white projector, whatever. And I just want you to say the phrase, shut your mouth at the end. Then open your mouth for the next phrase, shut your mouth at the end. Keep doing that, and I'm just looking for this, okay? And we're gonna observe what happens afterwards, all right? So 3, 2, 1, and say it loudly, okay? 3, 2, 1.
This is a white
Okay, pause. Pause. Was it easy or was it hard? Not hard to do, right? Now let me ask you a different question. Did you hear any ums and uhs when you did that? No. Did I ask you to remove any ums and uhs?
But they were short sentences anyway.
Yeah, so let's try it again. So now what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to describe the last meal you ate. The last meal you ate, okay? Verbally, just to yourself, same exact thing. Get to the end of the phrase and pause. What you will find is, as you're thinking of what to say, you will forget to pause at the end of the sentence. And then you'll remember, oh, I'm supposed to be pausing. That's completely normal. Let's just try doing that. Thinking and pausing and closing the mouth at the end again, all right? 3, 2, 1, what's the last meal you ate? 3, 2, 1. What is that? Yeah, some of you are fasting too. You didn't say a goddamn word. So, I had a bagel. Okay, pause. How was it this time? How was it this time? Someone said retarded?
He said retarded.
We're gonna get to that. Not your retardation, but like in general. Because you're thinking of what to say, right? Yeah.
But it did make you feel very centered when you are talking like that.
Yeah.
I felt, even when I was talking to myself, it felt very much in control.
Correct.
As to what I'm saying.
It gives you just enough time to think about the next sentence, as opposed to just blurting out everything, right? So if you just implement this quick practice, immediately it'll make you sound more confident. Let me address the retard comment real quick. It's a good comment. No, believe it or not, it's a very, very good comment. So whenever you try these exercises, and be honest if you felt this, if you felt any of the following, okay? You felt when you did this, it was a little fake. It was inauthentic. It was robotic. It was mechanical, which kind of is the same thing. And you lost your personality when you did that. Raise your hand if you had any of these. That means you're doing it right. A lot like when you learn a dance move, do you learn the dance move at full speed right away? Right? If you break it, I don't know what this dance move is, but you break it down into small moves, you do it very mechanically, it looks really stupid. You do it enough times where now it looks completely natural. The first time you do something, it will not sound natural, which is why you sound like a retard, which is completely fine. So if you feel fake, inauthentic, lost, robotic, what this means is the way you speak is your personality, right? You've done the same thing over and over again for 20, 30, 40 years. Now your mind thinks, this is who I am. These behaviors are my personality. So when you try a different behavior, like speaking loudly, pausing, automatically it says, wait, this is not who I am. This is something different. This is not who my personality is. This must be fake. This must be inauthentic. This must be robotic. I should stop doing this. This is your old identity holding you back. So if you're feeling these things, you're doing it correctly. So unfortunately, throughout this entire presentation, you're going to feel very frustrated and you're going to feel very uncomfortable, but that means you are growing. Make sense? Okay. So we learn how to shut our mouth at the end of our sentence, which, by the way, a lot of my clients are like, I paid you 10 grand just to tell me to shut up. So, well, it works, doesn't it? That's number one. Number two, I'd like you to do a quick exercise with me again, please. Clench your teeth like this, completely tightly. You can keep your lips closed, but just clench your teeth like this, all right? Lips can be closed, just clench your teeth. I'm gonna ask you to say your full name and the city you were born in, but keep your teeth clenched while you do it. Don't open your mouth, okay? 3, 2, 1, city and where you were born, or just where you were born, why not? Your mouth is open. Yeah, there you go. Okay. No, no, teeth clench, that's fine. Some of you have a very long name, by the way, I just learned. Okay. Pause. Did the words sound clear when they came out of your mouth? This is called mumbling. When someone speaks and then you're like, what did you say? Can you say it again? Oh, I was just saying. Know anyone like that? That's how I spoke my whole life. So when your mouth doesn't open, you're talking like this, there's no air coming in, going out, so you sound like you're mumbling. Now, most of us, obviously, we don't mumble all the way at this point. We mumble somewhere here where our mouth will open just a little bit, and then we're talking really fast, and we can't really hear what the other person's saying, and we're talking. It's very hard to understand what I'm trying to say. What we're going to do now, I'm going to make you very uncomfortable. We're going to do the exact opposite of this. And this will help you sound clear. Have you ever seen a show like American Idol before? One of those singing competitions, right? So usually what will happen, I remember this one guy walks in, he's a super good-looking guy, right? And all of the judges are like, wow, what will you sing? Like, oh yeah, I've been singing for 12 years, I'm really passionate about it. They're like, okay, what song will you sing? Like, oh, I'm gonna sing Hotel California. They're like, okay, whenever you're ready. And then he limbers up and he's like, welcome to the Hotel California. And immediately the judges are like, what? That's not what I expected. His entire credibility went right out the window, right? So when you speak, if you mumble, immediately the sound you produce affects how credible you sound. So now we're going to exaggerate our mouth movement. Instead of mumbling, we'll do the exact opposite of this. I'm going to ask you to do something with me. You know when you go to the doctor and they say ah, I want you to make a big ah and then close your mouth after that, okay? So let's do it with me. 3, 2, 1, ah. Close, close, close. Now we're going to go horizontal. We're going to say E, but really stretch and look silly, okay? E, E, E. Now we're going to go from E to U, so it'll sound like this. E-U, 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 E-U. Now say the word wow, 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 wow. Now we mix it together. It'll be wow, E, and U, all right? 3, 2, 1. Wow, EU. Wow, EU. Wow, EU. Feels like a cult, doesn't it? People outside are like, what the hell is going on? Are they worshiping this guy? Like, but did you notice how wide your mouth opened when you did that? That's how much you can open your mouth. But most of us just stick to this. We don't open our mouth at all. Now, obviously, in your sales calls, don't talk like this. They will think you have a mental challenge, right? But this is how much you can do it, and then you tone it down a little bit, okay? Tone it down just a little bit. So same exact thing as you did before. You're just going to talk about what you ate last. Talk about 2 or 3 bagels or coffee or something, okay? Give me more material, all right? I don't care what you say. All I want to see is the mouth moving very wide. You're going to partner with one person next to you. I want to see exaggeration, but not this level of exaggeration. Your teammates should be able to tell that you are trying to do it, okay? You're going to make silly faces at yourself. It's okay. Do it, get feedback. The other person does it. We'll meet back in about 90 seconds, all right? So what you ate, just exaggerate the sound. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Pay more attention to what they're saying.
Good. Isn't that good? Right? Wonderful. Okay, what else?
Initially, I was not, exaggerating enough.
Right.
And, I was probably trying to be balanced.
Mm-hmm.
So, but with his feedback, I tried again, and I felt I was in more control.
Good. And you could tell as well? Okay.
I have a question. So it might be different than what we are talking right now. So my tone is naturally loud.
Okay.
Since my childhood. So since I moved to this country, I've tried a lot to speak in a lower tone.
Okay.
So at times it makes me mumble. But that's the conditioning going on in my mind.
So because you naturally speak louder, you try to go lower, but then you end up going too low.
Something.
Interesting. And when you did this exercise now, how did it work?
Yes, I was moderately exaggerating what I was saying.
Right.
But I've seen this in client calls as well,
Right.
and in team meetings as well. That because this is deliberately going on in my mind,
Yeah.
I'll have to speak a little slowly, so I mumble.
Slowly or loudly? What was your problem?
I used to speak very loud.
Loud. Right now, how would you say your volume is?
Right now, it's okay.
It's okay. So then what problem are we solving?
But it tends to mumble at times.
Okay.
That's the
So you go even lower than this. The only way to fix that is to constantly be aware when you're doing it. Can you tell when you're mumbling?
I think after that situation has passed, then I think that I might have mumbled the entire sentence.
I feel like if you mumble and you do it with your mouth open, naturally your voice will become loud. It's just hard to mumble when you're literally moving your mouth. Mumbling is just mouth not opening. So as long as you try doing that, I saw the way you were speaking, you sounded incredible. Try doing that for a week and see what happens, okay? Any other observations? Yes?
I felt like I was public speaking to one person.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly how you A little robotic, mechanical, a little professional, formal, right? Okay. And how did you perceive him?
No, it was, there was no ums, ahs.
Yeah.
It was more confident. Even though he was thinking, and this is the feedback that I gave him. One of them, they were looking, when they were thinking, they were looking on the side. Because they were more aware, you would actually look in the eyes.
So I have a different take on eye contact, right? So let's do a quick experiment. Who has heard, don't look away when you're talking to someone, don't break eye contact, right? Okay, I'm gonna use you as an experiment, all right? I want you to ask me a question, and I'm gonna respond to that question, all right? Just ask me any question that comes to mind.
What did you have for breakfast?
What did I have for breakfast today? Let me think about that.
That's a concept. That's scary. That's scary.
So I didn't break eye contact there, but how did you feel?
That was scary.
It's scary, like why the hell is he looking at me? Yes.
I heard like a 3-second rule, like you look at somebody for like 3 seconds, look away, and then
Yeah.
maybe.
So in my mind, what happens is, let's say you ask me a question, right? I'm now processing the question. Her facial expressions distract my thinking process. Because if I see her change her facial expression, now I'm lost. When I look away, it gives me a blank canvas to think, that's a good question. Now I know what to say, so here's what I think. There's nothing wrong with breaking your eye contact that way, because if I just stare at her, exactly what happened would have happened, right? So we often hear these generalized things like don't break eye contact. It's completely natural to do it unless you're a complete psychopath, all right? Okay, which you might be, I don't know, man.
I had an observation when we were talking like
Yes.
that. I was, so when I was trying to exaggerate, I would forget the next sentence because I'm focusing too much. Is that normal?
Completely normal. So whenever you're learning a technique for the first time, you're going to be incredibly conscious of doing it. So for example, imagine that you don't know how to drive. The first time you're in a car, where do I put my hands? Where do I put this? By the way, I can't drive. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying right now, but that's what I imagine you do, right? But now, do you have to think about it? You just step in the car, you just automatically do it. So you're in that first stage where everything is conscious. I have to think about it to do it. When you do that enough times, it becomes automatic. We're far from there. The only difference there is repetition.
So how do you maintain that difference that you don't look stupid in front of your clients when trying to do that?
So you don't exaggerate in front of the client, you exaggerate in practice. So for you, let's say you're in a meeting and you tend to talk somewhere here. You talk a little bit like this. Do you have a lot of your meetings virtually or in person? So what I do, I take a sticky note. Let's say this is my laptop, all right? I'll put a sticky note over here that literally says the word open mouth. So because you have to be reminded, right? So I'll be in a meeting, I'll be mumbling, I'll catch a glimpse of the sticky note. So anyway, what I was saying was blah, 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 blah. So naturally you keep doing it. This whole process of doing, forgetting, recalling, doing, this is the learning process. So the more times you can remind yourself, the more you can do it, all right? Was it fun, yes or no? Yes? Okay. So this entire section, what you have learned, if you forget all these techniques, look and sound like you're in control. Do I speak too fast? Can I slow down, add some pauses? Okay, so we've talked about the C, let's get into the E. What is the purpose of effective communication? And I want your ideas, there's no wrong answer here. What is the purpose of communication?
Get your message across. Get your message across.
Very good, yes, get a message across. What else?
Mark your credibility.
Mark your credibility, okay, what else?
Initiate a dialogue.
I like that, initiate dialogue, what else?
Like transferring information.
Very, very good. What else? One more? Listening also, yes?
Make money after the
Make money, yes. These are all great answers, and they're wrong. No, they're not wrong. But all communication comes down to this. Changing behavior. Changing behavior. If you're a stand-up comedian and you're communicating, you want people to laugh. It's changing behavior. You're in a sales call, you want people to buy, changing behavior. You want someone to date you, changing behavior. Everything we do with communication comes down to changing behavior. Why do I mention this? A lot of my clients from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, they're obsessed with vocabulary. Yasser, I want to learn better words. I want to have fancier English. I want to use my hands more. Okay, great. Let's say you do use your hands more. Let's say you do have more complicated vocabulary. Does it change their behavior? If it doesn't, then why are we spending so much time on it? Now, if your English is really poor, that you can't construct a sentence together and they think you're not credible, then yes, it's changing their behavior negatively, right? So what we want to do is we want to gear towards what can I communicate that will change the way people do, think, and feel things. Remember this, all right? We're going to do a quick exercise again. Raise your hand if you're a confident individual. Okay, who do I pick? So everyone, wow. You were like, I don't know, man. I'm thinking about it. Okay, let me bring you up. What's your name? Give her a round of applause, please. Minali, keep it coming. Okay. Minali. You're very eager right away. My decaps? Yeah, thank you. Come on. Okay. Super simple exercise. I'm going to ask you just stand here for a bit, if you will, where I'm standing here. I'm going to ask you to just tell the room, not now when I ask you to start, what you did since you woke up in the morning and you came here today. So I woke up in the morning, I got off my bed, I brushed my teeth, hopefully, and then whatever else you did, okay? You're just gonna walk us through it, 45 seconds-ish. Now you as the audience also have a job. Give me your best poker face right now, completely blank. Oh man, you went into character so fast, holy shit. You actually play poker? Oh man, okay, too expressive? No. Okay, When she talks, I want you to just stare at her like that. Give her nothing to work with. Wipe that smile off your face. Okay, you're too smiley. Okay, poker face, all right? Give her nothing to work with, and I'll tell you when to stop, all right? Don't look at me, look at them.
Like the A part or how do I?
Just normally, don't worry about performing in any way. So tell us about your day.
So I woke up today at 6 a.m. and I brushed my teeth, I scrubbed my face, I took a shower, I dressed up, had some makeup, blow dried my hair, and I was ready to, I ate my breakfast, I ate my sandwich, and I was ready to come in.
Okay, pause. Excellent job, by the way. Didn't break character at all. I want you to take a mental image of what she looked like and what she sounded like. Just take a mental image, all right? You're gonna do the same exact thing. Say the exact same thing, the exact same way you did, change nothing, all right? You have a different job. I want you to pretend like the speech that she's about to give you is the best speech you ever heard in your life. I want you to pretend like she charges $50,000 for this speech. There are limited tickets. You happen to get one, and you're lucky enough to be in this room. When she says a sentence, Inshallah. So at the end of the sentence, I want you to just lose your mind. So if she says, I woke up, it's like, oh, you woke up, unbelievable. I want you to erupt. This room better just go crazy, okay? Say it at the end of her sentences. Don't talk over her, but let's just get the energy going in the room. You got the assignment? Yes? Okay. Please give it up for her to tell us about her day.
Thank you guys, thank you so much. So I woke up today at 6 a.m.
Oh yeah!
I brushed my teeth, scrubbed my face, and then I took shower, got ready for the meeting.
What happened after that?
I did some makeup.
Makeup! What kind of makeup?
Like just regular, some
Regular makeup!
And I blow dried my hair. Because it was so good. And then I was ready to come here.
Yeah! Stay here for a second. All right. Well, you guys are amazing, by the way. Come to my next workshop, please. I'll just plant you guys at the front. Okay. Her day didn't change, right? Her day was the exact same, right? Did you notice a difference the second time versus the first time in her behavior? What did you notice? Again?
She felt happier.
Happier, okay. What else?
She was more conscious.
More conscious. What else?
After every second sentence, she took a pause to listen. And then, because she was waiting for a response every time she said it.
Because we were so loud.
Predicting a response every time.
Yeah. What else? What else? Excited to speak. And the day was the same, right? First, it was a little depressing, the first version of the day. The second day got a little bit more exciting. What else?
The volume went up.
Volume went up. Interesting. Energy went up. Okay, let's pause here for a quick second. Did I change my instructions to her in any way? Then what did she change and why did she change it? That's exactly right. Exactly right. You can have a seat. Give her a round of applause real quick, please. I don't know why, I'll just remember the blow drying part. It was just like, and I'm blow drying my hair, just regular. As if I know the types of blow dryers there are, you know. Why? Remember this. Communication is a transfer of emotion. Communication is a transfer of emotion. Most of us worry about what? What are the words? What do I say? What's the information? You change your energy and it completely changed her behavior without her even knowing it. So when you're speaking to your clients, and if you speak flat like this and they feel absolutely no emotion whatsoever, is their behavior going to change? So that's why emotion is important. So let me give you a quick story about this. When I was about 7 years old, I want to say, I was invited to a birthday party back in Pakistan. And this wasn't just any birthday party. This was this costume birthday party where you dress up as your favorite cartoon character, okay? Now, it just so happened the girl that I had a crush on at the time, she was going to be there, and I got some intel that she was going to dress up as the Tweety bird, the yellow bird. So then in the entire week, I'm thinking, okay, she's going to be Tweety bird. What can I be so that I can get my in with her and some sort of a connection? Like, oh, you're Tweety bird, I'm this, that goes well together. So I'm thinking, and then I come up with, you know what? I'm going to go as Bugs Bunny. I'm going to dress up as Bugs Bunny. If you want the honey, you got to dress like the bunny, right? Terrible line. So I dress like Bugs Bunny. I show up to the event. Now, it was in this giant mansion of some rich kid. You would have seen Batman, Superman, Power Rangers, everyone's dressed up. I walk in and she sees me. The moment she sees me, she's like, Yasser, of course you're Bugs Bunny. Now, mind you, she doesn't know anything about me. We're not really close. I'm just kind of a 7-year-old stalker at the moment, but I have a crush on her, right? So I'm thinking, wait, how did she know this about me? That's incredible. So I asked, how did you know I was going to be Bugs Bunny? And in front of everyone, she looks me in the eye and she said, of course you're Bugs Bunny because of your 2 large, ugly front teeth. So you can imagine the 7-year-old Yasser in front of the entire class. It felt like an arrow hit my heart, right? If you knew the Yasser before that, you'd have seen this jolly, bubbly kid. But if you knew the Yasser after that, you would have seen one with his mouth closed all the time. He wasn't doing any wow EUs or anything. It was completely quiet. And that behavior continued for the next 15 years. 2 large, ugly front teeth. 5 words packed with emotion changed my behavior for 20 years. Now, many years later, when I was in college, I was at a grocery store. I was a young man with very low self-esteem. And I had all these ramen noodles and tuna. You know, when you're broke, that's the kind of food you eat, right? Don't judge my diet. So I had all this food. I go to the cashier, and she's scanning all the tuna cans, and she's probably thinking, how many of these does this guy eat? And then she asked me a question that completely changes my life. She looks up at me, and she says, how would you like to pay? A seemingly ordinary question. And I said, oh, credit card, please. When I said that, she pauses for a second, and she says, you have a good voice. And then she just continues scanning the groceries. Now, mind you, I'm someone who doesn't get a lot of compliments. I don't get a lot of validation. So I'm thinking about it all week. Oh my God, this cashier said I have a good voice. Do I have a good voice? Maybe I do have. Maybe I should talk more. Maybe I should put myself out there. And 10 years later, I'm making videos online, teaching public speaking. I've got 5 million followers. Thank you very much. 5 words brought back my confidence. You have a good voice. So when you speak and your words are packed with emotion, you don't have to say a lot, but it fundamentally changes other people's behavior. Can you see the value of this, right? So you can say the right thing the wrong way, it won't have an impact. So remember this, if they don't feel it, they don't believe it. If they don't feel it, they don't believe it. When you speak, do people feel anything, or does it sound like a script that you're just rehearsing out loud to them? If they don't feel it, they don't believe it. So let's learn how to do this, okay? How do you speak with emotion? Because when I tell people, sound more excited, sound more empathetic, what does that mean? How do I do it? I'm going to write a quick phrase. This phrase is, I can't believe this, okay? I can't believe this. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1. Just say it out loud like you're reading a newspaper, okay? 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Someone said, I caught the memo 3 seconds late. Now we're going to add an intention behind this. What do I mean? Emotion comes from intention. You can say the same words with a different intention, and you will find the words come out differently. I want you to imagine, raise your hand if you have kids here. And for those of you who don't have kids, just picture that you have kids, okay? Imagine you have a son or a daughter who's terrible at math, just gets the lowest grades consistently. And one day they bring you the report card and you notice they got the highest marks in the entire school. Take on that intention, okay? You're looking at the report card. 3, 2, 1. Did the words sound different? Same words, right? Different intention. Let's try one more time. Let's say you spend $15,000 on a brand new couch from your favorite brand. I don't even know if they are that expensive, but pretend like you did, okay? And you just set it up, you're really excited about it, you come back from work, and you realize that your dog has bitten it to shreds. Take on that intention in your mind. You walk in, you see the couch, 3, 2, 1. You're really good at this. Even the eye roll and everything. Did it came out differently? Yes? Let's do one more. This is a true story, actually. I want you to imagine that you have a lazy, broke friend who tells you that crypto is about to take off. And for whatever reason, maybe you're really hammered that day, you didn't get enough sleep, you're like, screw it, this guy sounds smart, I should take his investment advice. So you decide to put $10,000 into crypto 7 years ago, and then you completely forgot about it. One day, you check your account and you realize that $10,000 has turned into $120,000. Take that intention in your mind, okay? You check your account, you see the number, 3, 2, 1. I can't either, it actually happened to me. It's like, man, this dumbass was right. So you can say the same words with a different intention, and the meaning of the word will change. So how often do we go into our conversations thinking about what our intention is? We know what's on the script. I just need to say these words. But how I say the words will be completely change the conversation. So now we're going to do a quick exercise, and this is the first time I'm going to ask you to pull out your phone, please, if you will. You're going to need your phone for this one. I'd like you to go to your gallery, and I want you to find an interesting image. It could be a picture of a sandwich, it could be a vacation you went on. If it's a half-naked selfie in the mirror, I recommend you move on to the next one, please. No one needs to see that one. Let me know when you selected it, just raise your hand. Okay. Anything, yes, as long as it's PG-13 or PG-21. Okay. Good? Keep it handy, making sure everyone's got it. You can keep your hands down now, it's okay. What you're going to do, I want you to think about what emotion comes to mind when you think of this image. So maybe it's a fishing trip and it was really exciting. Maybe you were on a plane and it was a really long flight and you were really depressed. I want you to take on that intention, okay? When people listen to this story, I want them to feel X emotion. So let's say you have a very exciting adventure story, you want people to feel excited. You want people to feel empathetic, or whatever it is. Choose one thing. And you're going to talk about that image to the audience, okay? By audience, I mean the other two people that you group up with. You're going to show them the image, and you're going to describe it to them, and your job is to get them to feel whatever emotion you selected. And I encourage you to select an emotion that's difficult for you. If you're naturally a bubbly person, don't choose excited. Choose conviction and serious or empathetic, something like that. You're not going to tell the other two people what emotion you chose. Once you finish speaking, they will tell you what they felt. And sometimes you'll feel like, man, I'm telling the most exciting story, and these guys said, yeah, I felt depressed. So now you know there's a gap, okay? Does everyone have their photo? Yeah? Is it PG-21? Okay. So we're going to take groups of threes. Every person is going to stand. They're going to show the photo, talk about it. Your only goal is to get people to feel one single emotion intentionally. Understood? All right. 3, 2, 1. Let's start. Okay. I'm glad it was happiness, not sadness with family. Okay. Okay.
So I actually took your advice because I chose my daughter's picture, and it was like I could have described happiness.
Okay.
But I took your advice, so I changed it into sadness.
Oh. About your daughter?
Yeah, because like I described it in a way because I can choose her clothes right now. She wears what I need.
That's so, I can feel it already.
Maybe in next 10 years, she will listen to me that way. So that's what I described. And this guy went emotional to a next time.
So, I don't know, the way he was...
This is turning into a therapy session all of a sudden, isn't it? Okay. So how do you feel about that?
Feel about how he said?
So were you able to pick up the emotion, the sadness? Yes, absolutely, yeah. Okay, so that means you did a pretty good job. Well done, my friend. Okay, what else? This side of the room.
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia?
I felt a sense of achievement and what it was just like.
That's a very specific emotion that you felt. Sense of achievement, okay. Did you find it was difficult or easy to embody that emotion when you were speaking?
Difficult.
Difficult, how so?
I just chose the exact opposite of who I am. I chose my son's photo with a mustache on for Father's Day.
Okay.
And that emotion I didn't even want in my life. Like, if you had asked me 5 years ago,
Yeah.
right? So, and I didn't, I didn't actually know how to communicate love.
Which, by the way, in our culture is very normal. Not knowing how to communicate love. Our parents don't really, how many of your parents said, I love you to you when you're growing up, right? Because it's like, they think it's a given, but there's somewhat of a formal relationship between parents and their kids. Like my dad, he's 66 years old, he's never said the words, but the things he does communicates it. So I know how you feel. My girlfriend's like,
It was easier to explain it to Aryan or my, sibling, my wife, but it was difficult to explain to them.
maybe you don't love him.
Maybe.
Maybe that's what it is. Relationship counselor Yasir Khan. Yeah.
Like, this is 2 steps behind.
Okay, before this turns into group therapy. All right. Did we learn to tap into our intentions and speak with more emotion? So all I'd like you to do when you go into your next meeting, just think about, if I want to change this person's behavior, what do I need them to feel? Do they have to be excited? Do I have to speak plainly, high conviction, and then tap into that emotion, okay? So the E is emotion. If they don't feel it, they don't believe it. If they don't feel it, they don't what? Believe it. That's right, okay. So far we've done control. Do you look and sound like you're in control? Do you speak with the right emotion? Now we're gonna get to my favorite part. This is the one everyone messes up. If you could just master this, the moment you open your mouth, people will think this person knows their stuff. They know what they're talking about. I'm gonna do a quick test. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. So I have a quick question. So if, let's say you're trying to convey an emotion across, right? But that person has a poker face on and they're not receiving it well.
Right.
Similarly, when Manali was, talking to us, she was more excited when we were excited.
Right.
So if you're trying to be excited and that's the behavior, like the change you want,
Correct.
but they're not receiving that, how would you go about that?
It's a very nuanced question. I'm glad you brought it up. Something that I have learned is I don't know what someone's feeling based on their face. If you see me in a cinema, if I'm enjoying a movie, I look like this. If it's a funny movie, I look like this. If it's a serious movie, I look like this. If I'm enjoying someone's talk, I look like this. So if someone's presenting and they see me in the audience, they might think, what's wrong with this one guy? What do I have to do to get an emotion out of him? But I feel emotion internally. So oftentimes, we are looking for validation on people's faces. Can you please smile so I feel better about what I am saying? So as long as you have the intention, best believe that the emotion is coming across. Maybe they don't display it on their face. Some people are very emotive. Other people aren't. And I'll tell you a story. I was in Miami a month ago, and I'm delivering a presentation in front of chiropractors, right? I've never spoken in front of chiropractors before. I deliver the presentation, I'm going through all of my jokes, all of the lines, and this one guy just, the whole time, and he's got the tattoos here, he's got like a beard, really macho looking guy, right? I'm like, man, how do I get through this guy? Why isn't he buying in? So after the session finishes, he comes up to me and says, man, I was so enthralled in your session, I couldn't take my eyes off of you. I was like, bro, I thought you were gonna kill me. And then you know what he said? He said, I worked in the police department for 20 years. We're trained to be completely neutral. It's like, that makes sense. I also want to know how you go from police to chiropractor, but I didn't have time for that. Yes?
So he asked me something that I just made some shit up.
What a great leader. It's some shit. Okay.
But he was showing a listing.
What?
A listing.
A listing,
like
okay.
Like a real estate listing. And it came across that he was not convinced that it's a good listing, right? So, and he said that it's been on the market for a while, right? So,
Okay.
and he's like, what happens if I'm not convinced, if I'm not the person who will buy this?
Right.
I'll give you another, so he asked me that, how do I, and it just took me back when I was doing research for the cigarette company, BAT, and I was not convinced. I was like, okay, this is how you increase the sales by 20%,
Right.
and increase cancer by 20%. Like in my head, I was like, and increase cancer by 20%, and kill people. I'm doing the right thing.
Right.
So I was not convinced of the product.
Right.
But that's the job.
Yeah.
So how do you emote when you're not convinced, but that's the job?
Right. So it's such a powerful situation because everything internally goes against what you were doing. So what you want to do is this exact exercise we did around intention. You want to train it so many times that you can snap a finger and you can immediately embody that emotion. So I want you to think about actors in Hollywood. Do they feel emotional around that scene? No. Do they have to train themselves to cry on cue? Yes. It's a skill you can learn. And this technique that you're learning today is a technique from acting and theater work. So you do it enough times and you can say, okay, if I were angry, what would I sound like? If I had high conviction, what would I sound like? And you have these archetypes in your brain. This is angry Yasser. This is high conviction Yasser. This is empathetic Yasser. When I'm with my girlfriend, I will literally say, I'm gonna put my boyfriend hat off, I'm gonna put my business coach hat on. Because if I give her advice as a boyfriend, she's like, I don't want this getting between us, okay? Boyfriend hat off, this is my business owner hat. Don't do this, it's a terrible idea. Back to boyfriend. And she's able to tell they're two different people. So similarly, when you practice this intentional emotion, over time you'll be able to do it. But it's hard when your career and your gut is saying two different things. Hard to overcome. Does that help? Yeah. I want you to imagine that your ideal client goes and speaks to you and speaks to 8 other competitors who say the exact same thing. How do you know which one's better? How do you know which one's differentiated? How do you know one's better than the other? If everyone talks about the rates, everyone talks about them being the best, everyone talks about how they've been there for 25 years, what makes them stand out? Most people, when they speak, what they do is they list down facts. We've done this, we've helped this many clients, blah, blah, blah. The moment that conversation is over, the client immediately forgets all about it, moves on, has no idea what you've said. Because we often don't speak in stories. We often don't speak in an organized way. So let me explain to you, when you're in a conversation, what not to do, all right? I want someone to ask me a question right now that I'm not prepared for at all. Don't say nuclear physics or something. Something I have the knowledge for, but I don't have a prepared speech right now. Give me any question.
What do you think about Donald Trump?
What is with you guys and Donald Trump, bro? What shoes?
What are you going to buy next?
Okay, that's one question. Anything, give me a really dumb topic so it sounds silly. What do I think about sushi? Okay, I think there's a story there, isn't there? Okay, what do I think about sushi? What else? One more question.
What was the last politician you spoke to?
My God, man, what is with What happened before I came here, man? Is there like an intense debate? Yes. I'm a renter, man, so I'm not. Okay, what was that's objection handling right there. Take advantage of every opportunity. I'm gonna milk this guy while he's here, right? Okay, we had a question, the sushi question. Okay, just because you had a good comment. So you said, what, do you like sushi? Okay, I'm gonna give you a really shitty answer for 30 seconds, and I just want you to tell me why it's shitty, okay? Can you just ask me, do I like sushi?
So do you like sushi?
Sushi, yeah, I mean, there's so many sushi places in Toronto nowadays, right? Everywhere you go, there's like sushi. Even my workers, whenever they go for lunch, they want to have sushi, and there's all kinds of sushi. There's like avocado sushi, there's like salmon sushi, they have the little torch thing on top. I don't know what they're doing there. There's like California rolls. I heard is very different from the one that they have in Japan. Apparently that one's very different than the one we have here. Yeah, I grew up in Pakistan. We didn't really have a lot of sushi. In fact, a lot of people were like, wait, this is raw fish. Like, I can't just eat raw fish. It's kind of weird, right? So I think I started eating sushi when I was in Malaysia. I studied in Malaysia. I did my undergrad there for about 3 years. So a lot of people there, they were fans of fish and seafood, that kind of thing. So yeah, I guess, I'm all right with it. Okay. Okay.
So you do like sushi?
That's exactly what I was going for. Did I answer a question?
No.
Have you heard anyone answer a question like that? You ask them a question, blah, 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 blah. What would you think about my credibility in this moment? You would not trust me because I'm going all over the place, right? It's like if you order an Uber or you're sitting in a car with your friend and your friend is just driving in circles. At some point, you'll be like, where is this guy taking me? Does he know where he's going? So similarly, you don't want to talk to someone who doesn't know where they're going with the conversation, right? Let me give you a different answer. Can I try one more time? Can you ask me the question one more time? I absolutely hated sushi as a kid for 2 reasons. One, my parents never ate anything even remotely raw. Whether it's steak or fish, it had to be perfectly cooked. So that's the first reason I didn't like it, was because it was raw. The second reason I didn't like it is because I didn't know how to eat it. When I was in Malaysia, everyone would use chopsticks and I would try to pick it up with my hand and I would embarrass myself. So it was a social thing for me. So because it was raw fish and because I was embarrassed to eat it, that's why I hated sushi growing up. How was that? Better? What were the two reasons I didn't like sushi?
First, that it was raw and we were not socially exposed to eating raw fish.
Yes.
And the second was that you were embarrassed to eat it with
Correct.
a certain way.
So what she just did now, she repeated back what I just said. When someone can do that, that means you have organized your information in a way that's easy for them to repeat back and understand and share. Most of the time, when you see a presentation, I'm sure you've seen someone. They go through slide after slide after slide after slide. 60 minutes of slides are gone. You go for lunch, you go back home. What the hell was that presentation about? Because we throw all the information at other people and they don't remember the information. So remember this, it's not what you say, it's what they remember. It's not what you say, it's what they remember. What's the point of giving them more information that they will not remember? So how do you speak in a way where not only are you memorable, but you are seen as a credible person? You speak in what's called a speaking structure. I recommend this part you write down. We're going to use this shortly. It's called a speaking structure. I call this the sandwich structure. All right, so we're taking notes. There are three main components. I'm not sure how you're going to type this out, but maybe you can just write point 1, point 2, point 3. This is how to answer a question or speak concisely in an organized way on the spot, okay? The first and last thing that you will say is going to be the answer to the question or the most important point that you want to make. So you asked me, do you like sushi? What's the first thing I said the second time? I absolutely hate sushi, right? So the first thing you want to do is you answer the question. Why? When someone asks you a question, they immediately want a response. They don't want 5 minutes of backstory till you get to what they want to hear. You answer the question. You also end with the answer or the point. Why do you do this? You do this because people remember what they hear last. People remember what they hear last. Have you ever gone on a great vacation and then had a really bad flight on the way back, and that's the only thing you can think about? Or you went to a great birthday party and someone cuts you off in traffic and that's the only thing you can think about? People remember what they hear last. So what's the last thing I said? That I hate sushi. So you answer the question and then you end by answering the question again. In the middle, this depends if it's a speech, if it's a short Q&A, you can have what's called the meat. If you're vegetarian, it could be some other word, I don't know. So you have the bun at the top, bun at the bottom. What's a different word for meat that we can use? Let's say body. Protein, there you go. Okay, you can have a chickpea patty over here, all right? This is your protein. I'll make it more universally applicable. So in the middle, this is all the details. What do you fit in the sandwich? So you can add reasons that I hate sushi. You can add a story that I hate sushi. You can add data points, analogies, whatever fits the bill. Okay? So let's take a quick example. One more question, something as simple as, what's your favorite movie or something like that?
Do you like pineapple on pizza?
Oh my God, it's like a dating, every dating app.
Yeah, sir, can we, I think this is going to be very relevant and we get asked this a lot.
Okay.
What do you think is the market like?
Okay, I think that's a good question. Okay, so that's the question. What do you think is the market like? In fact, can I, who hasn't been up here? Quick volunteer, raise your hand. Why don't you come on up? Give him a round of applause, please. I'm guessing it's a question you have to answer quite often? Yeah, quite often. Okay, so we're gonna give him this structure. All he has to do is answer the question first, provide maybe a few reasons, and then at the end, answer the question again, okay? Have you written this down? Yes? Okay, I'm just gonna erase this real quick. So, what's your name again? Gaurav, how is the market right now?
So the markets
Don't give me a full, just one sentence.
the market's going to go down.
Market's going to go down. Okay, so the answer is market is going to go down, right?
Yeah.
To go down. All right.
Yeah.
What is that?
Good time for people on leases to buy. Great deals out there.
You guys are sharks here, man. I like it. I like it. I like what you're doing with these guys. Okay, so can you give me one or two reasons? Just do you have one or two reasons you can share?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so first reason.
Macroeconomic uncertainty.
Okay, 1 second. Macroeconomic uncertainty. What else?
Immigration halt.
Okay. So immigration halt. Two reasons are enough. Can you think of a story of someone who's been affected by any of these?
In a positive way, negative way.
Whatever your point is, the market is going down, right? Maybe your clients are acting differently, they're taking actions differently, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so just give me a one-line summary of that story.
Sure. People are procrastinating on the decision making.
Okay.
We're going to wait another 6 months or a year.
Gotcha. Do you have anyone specific in mind who did this?
I mean, tons of people.
Tons of people.
If you want a name, we can just.
Okay, just say Sam.
Sam.
Make up a name, okay? All right, and then at the end, you're going to answer the question again. So your structure is going to be answer the question, provide one reason, two reason, a story, and then at the end, so that's why I think the market is going to go down, okay? So you're going to stand here. I'm going to ask you as if you and I are having a meeting, and if you want to refer to this, that's fine. Just say it as is. Market is going down, then reason number one, explain. Reason number two, explain. Look at the story, explain. Wrap up by, so that's why I believe the market is going down. Okay? Give him a round of applause, please. All right, can you ask him the question, please?
Gaurav, what do you think is going on in the market right now?
So, Orgo, I think the market's going to go down. And the market's going to go down because due to macroeconomic uncertainty, we have a number of wars going on right now. And the second reason that I think the market's going to go down is because of the immigration push that, has kind of pulled back by the government. We're basically not taking any more people. The population of Canada has been going down, which is a thing on its own, right? But because of those two reasons, the macroeconomic uncertainty and the immigration going down, I believe the prices in general will go down and the market will go down over the next 6 months to a year.
Give him a round of applause, everybody. Okay, pause. You're the expert here. How do you do?
Hey, good.
Yeah?
And I can spin that wrong.
Okay.
I mean, I can spin that wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
What is
I
that?
think you put yourself in a box.
Now, I don't know if the answer was right or wrong. Was it structured?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's not the answer I would generally give.
Why not?
That's because,
That's kind of the point.
I'll tell you why. The market is going down,
Okay.
but it still doesn't make sense to wait, and then there are reasons to it.
So tell me that. Why are we doing all this? Does this change then? You're giving me incorrect information in this. I'm not listening to shit.
Okay. Let's
So what changed?
The market's going to go down,
Okay.
but it takes time to buy a property, find the right property, so it still makes sense to keep an eye on the market actively,
Okay.
even if it continues to go down.
So let's try with that structure again. You don't need to refer to this.
Yeah.
As long as you sandwich it. The only thing I would say, slow down the pace considerably.
Yeah, that was a question.
Yeah, just slow it down. In your mind, it should feel like you're going so slow, it's uncomfortable. Okay? One more time? Yes? Okay, ask him one more time, please.
And I'm saying as a client, when you say the macroeconomic to a client,
Doesn't mean-
I don't know what the hell that means. I failed the economics.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Gaurav, bro, what do you feel about the market right now? Is it getting any better? What do you?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I feel like the market's going to go down a bit further. In the next 6 months to a year, I think that's when it's going to find its flow, and then it's going to, increase afterwards. But in the next 6 months to a year, I think because our GDP has been going down, there are wars starting everywhere. You see the price of oil going up, and Canada is a natural resource-dependent country. There are two key things actually: natural resources and immigration. So because of that entire war situation, the macroeconomic uncertainty has been to the point that it has eroded the confidence of people. So that is one factor that is really playing a role. The other one is immigration. Now, you would know that immigrants play a huge role in the economy of Canada as well, right? Immigrants come in, they save up money, they lease, and then they eventually buy. That has stopped. Canada as a country has, our population has been declining, which is a historic thing for Canada. It has, almost never happened before. So because of those two reasons, I think the market's going to continue to go down. But I do feel that, and as you would as well, that it takes a lot of time to find the property we can call a home, because homes are different, because the market is going down and a lot of sellers are also aware of this, so they are not really putting their properties in the market. Because of which, the time to find the right home is going to take a lot more than what it would. If it would take 3 months earlier, now it might take 6 to 9 months. Because of which, for sure, the market's going to go down in the next 6 to 12 months. But I strongly encourage that we just keep an active or passive eye in the market, keep going out, keep taking a look at properties, because it's going to take time. Or even with the market going down, it's going to take time to find the right one for us.
Round of applause, everybody. You could have done a whole TED talk there, couldn't you? Have a seat, have a seat. Yeah, I might need at least something from you guys. I don't know. How'd he do? Not bad? Did it sound structured? I don't know what he was saying, but did it sound structured? Was it easy to understand and repeat? If I can repeat back what you said, there's wars going on, macroeconomical issues, immigration, and I shouldn't be scared just because of those situations. It might take longer, but it's still possible, right? So I know fuck all about real estate. If I can understand and repeat back to him, that means he did a good job, means he can change my behavior. Well done, my friend. Give him a round of applause. Okay, if you can master this skill of organizing, which is the O in your CEO, so you have CEO, you have control, you have emotion, and then you have organize. This is a structure that you just used to organize your information. The two things to remember. One, answer the question immediately or as immediately as you can, in the fewest possible words. Don't make me wait 2 minutes to get to the answer. At the end, because you might have noticed something he did, he closed, but then he continued talking. But luckily, he wrapped it up again really well. But some people close with the most important thing, and then they continue talking. Then I get confused. So the last thing you want to say is the answer again. This is the most important piece, okay? So what you will do now, we're going to go into groups of threes again. The question that I will pose to you is, what has been valuable for you so far in this session? We're going to use this structure. What has been valuable for you in this session? So you can say, there were 3 things that were really valuable. 1, 2, 3, that's what I found valuable. Or you can say, the one main thing I found valuable was opening my mouth more because of X, Y, Z. That's why this was valuable. So one person is going to speak. The other person, after they've listened, they're going to repeat back what the person said. That's the only way for us to know if the message came across clearly. The third person is going to be the observer. Just observe the speaker and the listener. Did the speaker speak clearly? Did the listener recap clearly? Did they miss anything? We make sure all 3 of us get a chance, okay? So 1, it'll get you the opportunity to practice a structure, but 2, and most importantly, it'll allow me to collect compliments. So thank you very much. No, I'm kidding. So again, the question is, what did you learn in this session so far? We'll do this for 3 minutes. 1 speaker, 1 listener, and 1 observer, okay? All right, go ahead. Okay, who wants to share in an organized way what you learned, what was most valuable from the workshop? Give me a hand raise, please. Go ahead.
So I actually learned a lot of things, and thank you so much for that. The major 3 things I want to say is, of course, CEO broken down. The control, I really liked the part. I liked when you said, like, you know, I'm not doing that right now, but take pauses while speaking. And the mumbling part, the exaggeration, I was noticing while you were speaking, even when you were talking to us, that your mouth was still moving, even if you were talking in a lower tone. You were not talking loud as you were addressing the whole room, but your mouth was still moving. That is one thing that I really like. The second thing is about emotion. I think that is really important because sometimes our clients are sharing their sad stories with us. There have been clients who are sharing their personal sad stories, and we don't need to think about just making a transaction and getting to the end part. We need to actually sympathize and be friends with them. So that's the most important thing. The third is hands down the most important thing, which I feel like I have to do my whole presentation again now, because that's the feedback I have received, that if I have given the presentation and my clients are ready to buy 6 months later, they've forgotten about what was in the presentation. Yeah. So that's the most important takeaway that I'm going to take. I'm probably going to revisit my presentation because I'm going to like structure it out in the same way. So these are the three things I think the CEO part.
Give her a hand. That was pretty good. Good. I'll have you summarize my talk every time from now on. That was really good. Can I give you a quick piece of advice on the presentation part, just because it's important to you? When you prepare a presentation, anyone else who is doing the same, most people, what they do is they think, what do I put on the slides? They'll cram it with as much information as possible. Usually it's over time because they never rehearse it out loud. And by the end of it, they just throw all this information that immediately gets forgotten. Instead, you want to ask yourself, if people forgot 99% of everything in this entire presentation, what are the 3 sentences they should remember? And then every piece of information in that should support those 3 messages. How many times have I said control, emotion, organize so far? Over and over again. So when the presentation ends, it's 3 hours long. You might not remember all the stories, but you can remember the 3 words. That's why I organized it this way. Does that help? Yeah? Okay. Who else raised their hand? Go ahead.
So I loved how the entire presentation was structured, but my main takeaway was the hope. And I would translate that not just with my clients, but also in my content, because you have the hook, you have the call to action, that's the sandwich, that's the fun, and then you have the body, where you have to clearly communicate what the title and the thumbnail said. So my biggest takeaway was that I can actually apply that to my content today, and organization therefore was my.
Organize before you verbalize. Just keep that in mind. Most people, what they do is, when they're asked a question, before they think about what they want to say, they'll immediately blurt out their entire brainstorming process, all of their unprocessed thoughts. So what does this tell the other person? I don't want to think about what I want to say. I'm going to throw those thoughts at you. You figure out what I'm trying to say. And that's why it feels like a burden listening to some people. Man, can you think about what you're saying first? So it makes it harder for you to understand. So instead, take a pause. What's the most important point? Say that thing first. Okay, what adds details to this thing? Say that next. Say the most important thing again, and then stop talking. And by the way, use some common sense with this. If someone says, what's the time? Don't say the time is 10:30, and the reason it's 10:30 is because I checked my watch, that's why it's 10:30. Just say the time. Some people are like, well, what if it's a direct question? Just stop at the first answer.
On this, I just want to say, and most of you will relate with this.
Yes.
So I am a tech person, and I have watched so many videos about which phone is better or which headphone is better. So there's this one YouTuber, Mr. Who's the Boss, you must have seen him. I was looking for a good headphones, and this is 2 years back, and he started the video with saying, I'm gonna say it that's the first sentence of the video, this is a good headphone and I will buy it. And that's when I subscribe that person, that this person
right away
understands what I want, and I don't have to see this whole 20 minutes of analysis to get where I want to.
Yeah.
And this is what you mentioned, that answer it, then structure it, and then answer it again, and decide.
Yeah. You're doing the audience a disservice by making them wait. Because it takes more words to get to the important part. And they think, you don't really respect my time, you're just filling in the air with your words, just get to the point. Speaking concisely is harder than speaking longer, remember that.
I have a question.
Yes.
So whenever we talk about our sales pitch, there's a lot of clients and dealerships who ask about, let's say, cashback.
Okay.
Right? Now, what we've always learned so far and what we see best is not to say no directly to that question where we want to say no, but instead structure it in a way that you're asking the question back to the client.
The question behind the question, right? Yeah. Why are you asking that question?
Yeah. So is that the right way, or would you say we should?
So don't let this interfere with any of your sales training. Okay. So let's say you're having a conversation with someone, or you're on a panel, or you want to speak on YouTube. That's how you would speak. Okay. Sales techniques tend to be different, because if they say how much is it in the first minute, you're not just going to give it to them, right? So don't let it interfere with that. They're two different things.
But I just, because it's a very important question. So cashback is definitely one of the biggest points or discussion points for realtors.
Yeah.
And how I go about this is I say no. So a very blatant no right to start off the answer with. And I think now to introspect, it has the same kind of constituents of answer, why, and then answer. So I go, no, we don't work on cashbacks, but I'll tell you why. And then blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
you want me to work for you, I want to save off more money for you. Do you think somebody who is offering, this is the part where I'm also looping what you're talking about, and then I'm going to repeat what I started off saying, which is, for that reason, I'm not going to be working with cashback, and I hope that's okay with you.
And then there's no question in your mind what his point was, because he ends with that. That's the very last thing. Have you ever had this happen where someone's talking and they just stop talking and you didn't know they were done? And you're just staring at them? Like, oh, you were done, okay. And then there's this awkward pause. So when you say that at the end, so that's why I believe this. It's this stamp on the answer and signals to the other person, I am done talking, without you having to say it.
And by the way, we've won back clients after these kind of conversations. So it definitely works with them.
To build on that, the inverse of that, I was once working with a fitness coach, and I asked him, like, I'm the kind of buyer, just tell me what it is, I'm gonna buy it. 20 minutes in, I'm like, yeah, how much is it, where do I pay? Well, before we get into the price, I wanna make sure the program, I'm like, dude, I'm here to buy. And he just kept stalling, and I felt like he didn't respect my time, and I didn't buy his services. If he had said, yeah, my services could be anywhere from $900 to $2,000, depending on what you need, can we talk about that? Sure. I feel like the question has been answered, but he's also strung me along.
Yeah. And this happened with Alex Hormozi's workshop. So there was an application that we had to fill, right? For the workshop. So we filled the application. There was a call that happened next day, and he had probably a 15-minute, like a pitch ready for me. And I'm like, I just want to take my money. And this was a 2-minute call, and I gave him my card, and it was done. Because I had made up my mind, and because it was Alex Hormozi's team, and you know how good they are, they stopped talking because the sale was done in 2 minutes, and that's what.
Actually, my guy wasn't as good. He still went on to the pitch. I'm like, dude, just get to the thing. He's like, yeah, but we want to make sure you're qualified. I'm like, dude, I know this shit, man. Just fast forward to you're pitching sales to a sales guy. Like, I get it.
I got that call too, calling me for the in-person seminar. And then I was like, hey, I think I would have to first implement whatever Alex talks about in the business, and then probably go about and meet him in person. And then he stopped at that, and then he was like, okay, I'm going to give you a call 6 months later, and we can revisit this. I was like, perfect. Nice.
Honest and direct.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's just do 2 more observations about what was valuable, and then we'll do Q&A, and I'll wrap up. What other observation do we have?
Yeah, I'll say that.
Yeah.
So for me, the biggest 2 takeaways today have been 2 things. I don't do real estate. I am the tech person behind this.
Okay.
So one is intention. I want to increase our social media presence, and one is intention. And the other is whenever I'm posting something, the thought of changing that behavior.
Right.
What I intend the user to do for me, like either follow me or take something like valuable, like a key takeaway from this, and do something with it.
Right.
So that's what I'm gonna take. And I know that we have been talking about he does with that his content.
Yeah.
But sometimes someone else has to say it in your front of the face.
Yeah. You
Intention, and that's how you change the.
You hear it, and it just clicks in their mind correctly. You brought up something really important, a reminder. All communication is about changing behavior, right? So often I get asked about vocabulary and grammar and how do I speak more polished, how do I sound like Barack Obama, all of these questions. All of that is great if you want to get better at the technical side of public speaking. But at the end of the day, your goal is still to make the sale or to get the follow, right? You can be the most polished speaker in the world, and I will tell you, sometimes I go to a conference and the speaker is so polished, every single word is buttery smooth, they've rehearsed it 1,000,000 times, and I don't trust them. Because it doesn't sound like that's who they really are. It sounds too perfect, too scripted, not relatable, and that breaks trust. Because something in your mind says, they're pretending to be something they're not, they're too perfect. So your personality, keep it intact, but just implement some of the things you've learned today, okay? One more observation, then Q&A.
I think this was not shared with the room, but only with us sitting here. What you were talking about your turtleneck.
My turtle.
For salespeople, it is also important that they are comfortable in what they're wearing.
Correct.
Because you said whenever it's summer outside, but when you are in a room because the AC is like it's quite cold here, and you're wearing a turtleneck, you're comfortable. You're not wearing a dress shirt, because you have to do all the hand movement and all that. We as realtors, we are bending down, showing, opening lock boxes and things like that. If we are always dressed up, at times we are conscious about how we are looking, and not conveying the message or not talking about the property the way
Yeah.
we should have. So that's also.
Just to add more to what he's talking about, they asked me why I wear a turtleneck in the middle of summer. It's like 26 degrees outside. And I found whenever I'm speaking at conferences in the summertime, I'll wear either a dress shirt or a t-shirt. If I wear a t-shirt and a suit on top, it looks a little informal for the settings that I go to, so I can't wear a t-shirt. If I do a dress shirt, they always wrinkle. When I raise my hand, the shirt tends to come out, and then I'm doing that little muffin top thing the whole time. And I'm stressing about the way I look the entire time. I can't focus on the presentation. So I was thinking, what's an outfit I can wear that works in the winter, works in the summer, works indoors in the air conditioning, and I can put a suit on? And the answer to that was the turtleneck, which is why I have 25 of these and I wear nothing else. And now when people see me in the content, they're like, oh, Yasser, that guy who wears a turtleneck, right? So it accidentally became this branding thing. Like Alex Hormozi has a tank top and the nose strip. It accidentally just became it. And I will tell you, if you look at my wardrobe, it's just black pants and black turtlenecks, and my girlfriend thinks I'm having an episode or something, but it's fine. So it's for decision making, that's why I've done it. Okay, we'll do some quick Q&As. Has this been valuable so far? Yes? Okay, thank you. Save the applause for when I'm done. I still have one more story to go. We had a couple of really good questions. The reason I didn't answer them then and there is because I think we all could benefit from the answer. Just raise your hand if you have a question, and then I'm going to go one by one. Yes?
This is a personal struggle, right? And I want to know how to go about it. So you told about keeping a tone which is not very exaggerated and not mumbling and keep it in
Right.
the middle. But sometimes what happens is your mind tends to think faster than you're speaking, and you get excited.
Correct.
And then when you get excited, your tone goes up.
Correct.
Again, because you are excited about it, right?
Right.
Then, and subconsciously you don't know that, because for you, this is how your mind is. Your mind is faster.
Right.
You get excited. What do you think? Is it a personality trait change, or you have to be more conscious? Is because at times you just think I'm normal. This is how it is.
Right. So if I could summarize your question, it's when you're speaking, sometimes you speak a little too fast and you lose control, correct? And then the words...
You get excited because if there's an idea, tomorrow if you ask me, what do you think about this car? I'll get excited about it. But I think Ferrari is so great that I think the right color.
So you lose the control.
Yeah. It's too close to your head.
Yeah. So very, very good question. And then you had a second part of that question, which is it a personality trait or not, right?
Yes.
So this is a stress issue and a skill issue that both can be worked on. So let me just explain this to you. I'm going to give you an example of a presentation. If you've ever been nervous for a presentation, you will observe if this is the time that goes on in a presentation, and this is the level of anxiety or stress that you feel. Can everyone see this? Yes? Anxiety or stress that you feel. Let's say your presentation starts here, okay? These are all dry erase too, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's say you're about to start your presentation here. You will notice, or a conversation too, your anxiety level will be the highest around this time. Have we experienced this? Right when you're about to go on stage, right? It peaks at this stage, and then if you just allow it, it just naturally starts to dwindle down over the next few minutes, and eventually it'll stabilize somewhere. No emotion can last forever in your body. It eventually comes and goes. The problem is, for a lot of people, they reach this peak emotion, and now they start getting conscious of the fact that they are nervous. So what happens? Instead of allowing the anxiety to naturally go down, they start getting nervous about the fact that they're nervous. So instead of the anxiety going down, it goes further up. And then you get anxious, oh my God, people are noticing I'm nervous, and then you go up and up and up and up, and it just becomes this endless cycle. So what we need to do is, when we're feeling that initial excitement and control, we recognize this is what my body does when it's preparing me for this moment. I talk faster, my heart is beating faster, this is normal. But this will last about 30 to 60 seconds if you allow it to. All I have to do is ride out the emotion and slow everything down. Slow everything down. Because when you get nervous or when you're stressed or excited, you speak faster or slower? Faster, right? So in your mind, in the first 30 seconds, tell yourself, I want to go so slow that in my mind, I feel this is too slow. What will happen is you will feel like you're going too slow, but on the outside, you will look calm and controlled. And it will control your level of anxiety. Once your level of anxiety is controlled because you're slowing down, you're breathing more, and it stabilizes, now all of those thoughts are easier to access. Now you can slowly organize your thoughts, slowly catch yourself, and over time you can fix it. How do you fix this long term? Continuously remind yourself to slow down. I don't know if you've noticed, but throughout this presentation, there have been many moments where I start speaking really fast. And then you will notice 25 seconds later, I slow down. Why? Because I had that same tendency. I get stressed out, I go really fast. Oh, Yasser, you're going way too fast. Slow down. Then I slow down. So you go fast, what the hell is going on here, man? Right? These guys could use some of my training. So you go fast, you remind yourself, you slow down, and then you forget to do it. And then you remind yourself again, over and over again. You do, forget, recall, bring it back again and again. This is repetition you need. So it's not a personality trait, it's a skill that you can learn. Does that help? Yeah? Perfect.
Sorry, so if nobody has any questions.
Oh, we have plenty of questions.
Because I had the but yeah.
Okay. You had the what?
Oh, the ones that we were talking about. So we went around on Monday discussing about we introspected and wanted to kind of talk, pick your brains about certain topics. But I think we should go first, and if there's anything else remaining, then we'll come.
So this is again a personal challenge that I have, and I think a lot of people we spoke about some and a lot of happens. So one thing I want to learn is how do I control myself from blurting out everything when, let's say, I get a question from a client or an objection from a client,
right?
Or something where I know from my experience that I know about this, I am correct.
Right.
How do I not blurt everything out? How do I control that so that the client doesn't feel that I'm overwhelming them,
right,
and don't get they don't take a step back when we discuss it.
Can I understand your state of mind in that moment? So when you feel like you blurt it out, do you feel like you're very eager to prove them a certain?
Yes. So if I know for a fact that I'm 100% correct on this factually,
right,
I want to prove it as fast as I can.
Right. I'm going to give you an example. I once went to a doctor, I forgot what kind of doctor it was, but I was telling them that I have a certain issue. And they immediately kept negating that that's not the issue. What their diagnostic is, that's the issue. But they had spoken to me for 5 minutes. And I was like, you don't know enough context about me. So I felt like even though they might have been correct, because they did not consider my situation, my perspective, they ignored it, I can't trust this person. So for you, I think the control element might be, can I resist the urge to correct? Can I resist the urge to correct them? So if I say, hey, you said the market is going down, right? If I said, hey, obviously the market is going up, right? So it's a great time for XYZ. You can say something like, actually, a lot of people think that the market is going up. Can I share a different perspective? Gives you just enough time to control and become aware. Hey, don't blurt everything out. And then slowly you share the information that you want. Just validate them for how they feel first before you correct them. So the phrase I like to tell myself is, connect with them before you correct them. Connect with them before you correct them. Helps? Yeah. You have a lot of questions today, huh? Okay, keep going.
This is a good meeting. So I am a people pleaser by nature, and I am scared of saying no. And that's the feedback I've received from Orphan and Jyot as well multiple times, that I need to probably see more podcasts about women in business and stuff like that.
Okay.
And learn to communicate that way, that I'm not trying to please them. It's the opposite of Ishmeet. If I know that I'm correct and my clients are wrong, I would not correct them right away. I would just agree to them. And
so in a way, you're doing them a disservice, right? Because they're incorrect.
I mean, I would eventually, of course, do that, but I would
by
not.
the time the conversation is
exactly. I'm not even striking a balance. That I can understand what you're saying, but this is not how it works.
Can I ask you a tangential question? Yeah. When you envision yourself saying no, or this is incorrect, what do you feel internally? What's the thought process?
They would not like this. They would end up disliking me or doing something else.
So you feel like if they believe something and you share something that you believe differently, there's going to be a confrontation or a clash, and it will break the rapport.
Yes.
So in other words, are we able to disagree without disconnecting?
That's what I have to learn, I guess.
So the same thing I said to him was, can you validate what they feel? I completely understand where you're coming from. A lot of people felt this way. Can I share a different perspective? It's not, no, actually you're wrong, it's this way. That's very different. Share a different perspective is very different than you're wrong, I'm right.
And what about taking too much responsibility and like difficult to get into touch? Like,
Yeah.
if I have to give you an example, for, like very short. Like, we had a closing, and there was some stuff that was left between the alley between two houses. Like the garages are attached, and there's an alley, and there's some stuff left. I asked the sellers, it's not the seller's stuff. So we thought it's the neighbor's stuff. No one had to access that alley ever. There's no window in that alley. There's nothing there. My clients are like, we want this clean.
We want this?
We want this clean.
Okay.
And then, because I know that, it's a minor thing, like,
Right.
you don't have to think about closing on this house twice because of this thing. I just, to de-escalate, I offered, I'll get it cleaned if it's not the neighbor's.
Yeah, so you just fold immediately.
Exactly. So, that is where I need to.
I want to be careful about what advice I give you around that situation because it's probably some sales things that you guys do to deal with that. Is that right? So in her situation, what would she have done?
I mean, and before you came, we were talking about this, that sometimes it's unreasonable. Like, some things are unreasonable. If it was too much trash, like the one with the garage full of trash, that was unreasonable. And I would be even madder than the client. Or if the client is calm, I would actually say, in fact, you know what, sir, I would be not that calm as calm you are. I'd be in fact very mad at this. So let me see what I can do. And then maybe I'll call and they'll probably pay for it, but maybe I'll call the garbage guy or whoever, right? So the lawyer, if it's too much. So sometimes it's okay to agree, especially when they haven't. And I think it's important to acknowledge that it's their closing day. They're closing on their first home, and they're probably nervous about that.
Yeah.
And not the garbage. So I think it's okay to acknowledge at that point, if I understand the situation correctly. And I sometimes feel that it's okay to get it cleaned. Also, if it's like $100 thing, is what I would also do. It's probably not overthinking at that point because they're actually worried about something. I don't know. It's more nuanced.
If it gets them to change the behavior in the way you want them to, and that $100 is worth it for you, then that's the correct decision. Yeah. I think you fold really quickly. Yes. Because your immediate thing is, how do I diffuse the situation? Exactly. I love what he said. When someone else is angrier at the situation than you are, I feel like you're on my side, right? So if you had said, this is unacceptable, there's so much threat, I can't believe this happened, sometimes you're like, actually, it's not that big of a deal. Like, you're taking it way too seriously. It's okay, I'll live with it, it's fine. And they themselves diffuse themselves, right? Just because I'm not in the industry, I don't think I can give you the best advice on it. That's all.
Okay. And to add to this, there have been times earlier when this happened, small little things. When you pitch in to get those fixed, not only are you putting yourself on the same team, but the good sense of closing lingers on way longer than you would expect. And then when somebody goes through a closing, the friends talk, housewarming ceremony stuff, that travels, and then you get referrals from those last minute decision making points as well.
So you're saying it's not that bad?
Absolutely not. If
it's a customer experience, really.
Yeah, if you're contributing to ending on a positive note to a transaction, 100%, but I would 100% make sure that I lap up all the credit for that thing. I pointed out that this was not my job. I'm doing it, and I'm doing it only for you because I am an awesome realtor, and you are so amazing to have.
So basically, acknowledge it and probably acknowledge it more aggressively than they are, and then offering them a solution that you can.
And if this is towards the end of the transaction, remember, people remember what they experienced last. Right. So the last thing they think about is like, oh, there was this garbage thing, she didn't deal with it. That's where they'll leave you. So just do the $100 and get it.
Just paraphrase this, and this is probably something that we talk about this a lot. I think it's about establishing authority. In the end, you're not actually establishing authority, you're just completing an experience. Okay. But I think in the beginning, just to bring this a little bit, a little bit back in the conversation where we are not actually closing, it's not closing day. I think there's a problem with establishing authority. If we fold too quickly or too late, either we are being too pushy or we are not establishing authority where we should. Like in this entire presentation, what would you feel, and probably know the answer, but it would be great to hear your views, but what do you feel would be that one thing we do to establish the authority in, let's say, the first call that we are doing with clients?
I like to set boundaries immediately. So here's what I'm planning for us, X, Y, Z. Do you have anything you would like to discuss? And then they know I came with a plan. Okay, no, I want to be led to this conversation. And that establishes the authority. I always think about a doctor. Because when I walk into a doctor's office, they don't have to convince me that they have the authority. They just do because of the very nature of the interaction. I walked in because I need their help. How would I talk to someone? I've also had to train myself. I used to get a lot of these celebrity clients and government officials, and I'd be like, oh man, I gotta be buttoned up and I gotta talk to them nicely and I gotta bow down to them, all that stuff. But the more I talk like that, the less they respect me, the less they behave on the training. But for this one Saudi government official, he kept canceling on me 10 minutes before the meeting. And once he showed up, I said, listen, if this is how we're gonna continue our relationship, I'd rather you find a different coach. He never missed a session after that. And I was like, shit, man, where'd you get the balls to say that? But I was frustrated, right? So I established my boundary with him there, and I did it early on, and it worked.
Yeah, this is a problem because a lot of our clients, they're over smart, right? Whether they come in through open houses and they're not represented, and they always think, oh yeah, I know how much this is worth, I'm gonna offer this much, and you can convince me that it's worth what you think it is.
Yeah.
So again, it's about establishing that authority, and sometimes we can do it, sometimes
I just love the phrase, would you be open to hearing a different perspective? It's very disarming, and it always works on. That's great, I completely understand. Would you be open to hearing a different perspective? What I have noticed is blank.
I noticed you use like stories to kind of speak as well. I think that's very important too. Is there like a certain structure that you have similar to like the organization that you would kind of follow to tell stories?
Yeah.
That influence people?
To give you the logic, stories convey emotion and information in the most streamlined way, and they're memorable. Facts you will forget immediately, but if I tell you a story, you probably remember details of a movie you watched when you were a kid, but you don't remember a presentation from a month ago. Why? Because there's no story, there's no emotion, right? So a really quick way that you can tell a story, especially in a corporate setting, the hang up a lot of people have around this is that stories take too long or they go into a lot of unnecessary details and then we don't tell the story. Here's what you can do. It's the 5 Ps. 5 Ps of professional storytelling. So you have P, 3, 4, 5. First, you have the people. Who is involved in the story? I was working with a client in the XYZ industry. They wanted to buy a house, okay? Then, what problem did they have? They've worked with 2 or 3 agents. They were trying to do XYZ. This is the part that most people spend the least amount of time on because they just want to get to how they help. Spend the most amount of your time here. So if you think about a superhero movie, imagine a superhero movie where the villain gets 2 minutes of screen time. And the rest of the movie is just how amazing the superhero is. There's no movie, right? The bigger the problem, the bigger the payoff. The bigger the problem, the bigger the payoff. So talk about what problem the person you helped before had. Then, what process did you follow to start helping them out? They came to us with XYZ issue, they wanted to buy a house, they couldn't find the right market, blah, blah, blah. We helped them do X, Y, Z. Then you have the payoff. You helped them with the thing, what was the end result? And this should be the opposite of the problem. They came in with this problem, we did this process, and now they're here. This could be a happy ending. At the end, the most important thing, what is the point of your story? What are you trying to convince them of? So the reason I tell you this story is so you know we can do X, Y, Z. It's so you don't buy the house at the wrong price or whatever it is. That's the main point. So people, problem, process, payoff, point. Helps? It's almost like I've done this before, right? Okay.
So I think this is my personal problem. So I'm just wondering if I can do something about it in order to have this.
The answer is probably yes.
So I have noticed, like sometimes what happens to me is when I am, just in a team setting environment or something, and I just start saying, I just actually start sort of discussing about something, I just start saying something. Instantly I get this feeling that I am probably being judged by someone.
Right.
Due to which I just lose my chain of thoughts completely.
Right.
Is there something that I can do or practice in order to get rid of this?
First of all, raise your hand if you can relate to that. That's how normal this feeling is. Okay? So the reason I do this is because everyone thinks it only happens to them. It's a very natural thing because us as humans, we're tribal creatures. We want to fit into society and we want approval from other people. We want people to recognize us. We want people to like us. So when we feel judged, we feel like we're almost surviving for our place in society. So it comes from a very primal place. What I like to do, okay? I'm going to give you a quick story on this as well afterwards. I have noticed that whenever I am delivering a presentation, I'm usually painting an image of what I think this person is thinking. Nod your head if you've done that. Where you deliver a presentation or you're saying something to someone and you've already made up the conclusion on their behalf before they even say it. You think, they're probably not interested or they're probably not engaged in my presentation right now, right? I have noticed about 99% of the time I am incorrect on my assumption because I am projecting my internal fears on other people. I am scared of being judged, so I think other people hate me. I am afraid of not being accepted, so I think other people are bored and tuned out. So it's a self-safety mechanism all of us human beings have in our head. So what helps me and what's helped a lot of my clients is you start differentiating between fact and feeling, okay? So for example, if you are in a meeting and you feel judged in this moment, right? Your thoughts will say these people hate you, they don't like you, you're incompetent. I will ask you, is this a fact or is it a feeling? How often are our feelings correct, right? Most of the times we overestimate the importance and accuracy of our feelings and we confuse our feelings to be facts, right? So they probably hate me, this is probably a fact. So if you keep doing this, I'm feeling really anxious, I feel like people judge me. Do I know this for sure? No. Is there a possibility my mind is trying to safeguard me from something? Yes. You do this enough times, what will happen is you become very aware of the tricks your mind plays on you. For me, I know before my presentation, you're going to be boring, no one's going to laugh at your jokes, everyone's seen all this stuff on your Instagram before, no one likes it. I know the script that my brain gives me. But over time, I can tell this is a feeling, it's not a fact. So when you audit this over time, I promise you, all of those same things, they will no longer bother you. The analogy I give is, imagine you watch a horror film for the first time. All the jump scares for the first time. You're scared, right? At least if it's a good movie. Now imagine watching the same movie 8 times. You know where the jump scares are. You know what characters are going to be scary. Now it doesn't bother you. It's still there, but it doesn't bother you anymore. Does that help? So just differentiate fact or feeling. Make an audit of that. Okay, next question. Go ahead.
So, do you don't use slides at all?
Great question.
Great question. When you started, you used to use slides?
I'm going to toot my own horn for a bit, okay? I think it's kind of a gangster move not to have slides. What do you think? Not bad, right? But
So when I asked, do you have your own clicker, presentation clicker?
Okay,
He said, I don't use that. That's exactly how I told Otto. Like, he doesn't give shit about slides. And before the guy said,
so I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to public speaking. I feel like if you're really good at what you do, you should just be able to engage the audience. Raise your hand if you felt like I did not need slides for this presentation. So then why waste my time with it, right? So then I can go back home and I can pat myself on the back and say, look how good you are, man. You didn't even need slides. You have everyone's validation. Everyone loves you, right? But that's a fact, man. Come on. See, now you remember. I love it. Fact. Okay, that's a really good one. The real reason I don't do it is because the amount of times I've spoken at a conference and there has been a tech issue of some sort where the video guy didn't put the slides in or the formatting is all over the place, or if I had videos on there and the sound didn't work and now I'm just sitting on stage waiting for them to fix the tech issue. So I learned, what if I make it easier for the event organizer and just go without slides? And I did it one time, and literally 10 people after my presentation said exactly what you said. Man, presentation was great, but you didn't even use slides. I've never seen that before. It's like, okay, let me write that down. Let me try it again. And now it's just me and a whiteboard. Works well, right?
2 personal challenges.
Okay.
First is, I'm super expressive, okay? So whatever I feel comes right on my face.
Okay.
If it's happiness, sad, or whatever.
Right.
So, like, anyone can look at my face and make out that, okay.
Terrible poker face.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, cannot do poker face at all.
Okay.
How do I control that? Because I want to control it.
Yeah.
I don't want the other person to have that kind of an impression that, okay, we know what he is thinking.
Right.
Second is, if I'm having a command about any kind of a subject or anything that I'm talking about, I tend to reiterate a lot.
Okay.
That's a tendency.
Right.
I have my wife telling me sometimes that you have already said that
Right.
multiple times.
Right.
And I don't know how to control that because I don't feel that I've said enough for the
Right.
other person to be, understanding or to make that connection that,
Right.
okay, the other person has understood my point has come across. Right.
Are you unsure if they understand your point, which is why you talk more, or you just naturally talk more?
I naturally talk more.
Okay, so for you, that specific issue is the organized issue. Most people, when they talk, they start talking, they start brainstorming out loud. So in other words, they think, if I talk long enough, I will know what I'm talking about. So it takes you about a minute to just get to what your point is. So if you can just not say anything for the first 3 seconds and think, if I had to say something in one sentence and one sentence only, what would that sentence be? So let's say someone says, hey, what do you want to eat today? Oh man, I've been so hungry, it's been a long day. Well, now you're just brainstorming. What do I want to eat? Pizza would be nice. And then you start adding detail. What this does is, from the first sentence, it gives you direction of what to talk about. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you ask me, what is your favorite movie, Yasser? Okay? Immediately in my mind, I like Inception, I like this movie, that movie, that movie, I like this one, but I also like, now I'm going in 50 different directions, right? But if I think, of all of these, I obviously can't talk about every single movie. Of all of the movies I've watched, the one that comes to mind has to be Inception. Now I know I'm talking about Inception. So everything that I say after that only leads to that one main message. So I think for you is, you don't organize the first sentence, and that doesn't give you direction, which is why you just spray all the information, and you hope eventually you find your way. So for you, the organized piece is going to be the most important. The first thing you said was about the facial expression. In most cases, I will tell you, it's a superpower to be expressive. In a corporate setting, the amount of times I see people who, we're really excited about our brand new product, and we're so excited about you joining us. Like, dude, did someone die today? Like, what happened? So the fact that you can do it naturally is great. If I ask you right now, 3, 2, 1, I snap my finger, you show me a poker face, okay? 3, 2, 1. Can you just practice holding that face? Why not? So here's my question again. Can you practice holding that face?
Yeah, I'll have to practice.
Right. Have you ever practiced holding that face before?
I've tried, but when, like, if I'm having a normal conversation
Right.
with anyone, and if I disagree, or if there is any kind of other emotions that I'm feeling,
Right.
it comes on me.
So this comes back to our E, right? Learning to speak with intention. So one of my clients, she had this issue where she becomes so emotional when she's speaking from the heart that she starts crying. Like in the middle of a meeting, she'll just get emotional and she'll start crying. And I was like, how the hell do I fix this problem? So literally, all we had her do is I would say something to her, and I would say, I want you to show me your detective face. Imagine you're a detective, and you're sitting across a criminal. What face would you make? And she just had this blank stare. So I said, I want you to practice having this face as often as possible. About a month later, she forgets to do it, she does it later. Now she can just naturally have this poker face at the start of the conversation, and then she can open up a little bit and then go back to it. So it becomes like a switch, on, off, on, off. So just like she was able to do it, you can do it as well. I just imagine you haven't had enough conscious practice around it.
I think that's very, very important.
Yeah.
Especially in the context. I know the context that he's talking from.
Right.
Because a bunch of times our clients do talk about cashbacks.
Yeah.
My friend knows better. Are you sure this is the right neighborhood?
Right.
All these questions are something that you're very sure of answering, but it comes to your face before you say even a word out of your mouth, but then that face does do harm to your business, because even before you've spoken anything, it comes across as disrespect.
Can I give you a quick piece of advice to try? When someone does this to you next time, for the first 3 seconds, don't move. Literally just look at them dead in the eye, do not move. So I think my friend can do it. Exactly that. That'll help you control the emotion before you immediately impulsively express it.
But that might also come across weak too.
No, you're thoughtful, you're thinking what they just
Because
said.
if someone knows me in person, like that person also knows my personality that I am.
I think you're projecting on other people. Yeah, I understand. Feeling, not a fact, yeah. The moment you say, oh, I feel that this happens, that happens, try the behavior change and see how it affects other people instead of making the conclusion before trying it. So I think for you, control will be really important. Don't say anything for the first few seconds. Allow the emotions to calm down, because I think when someone says, oh, I can get a friend immediately, what do you mean? How do I deal with this? And they can see that. Slow down, don't move. Something that I like doing is, I don't know why it helps, but it helps. When I'm meeting these really high-level celebrities, I pretend like I'm not impressed with them. So my facial expression the entire time is like this. Can you help me? Yeah, we can start next week. Like, it's very, very matter of fact. And it helps me stay calm, otherwise I get really flustered.
And it works. And it does work, because remember Fossils came in, and so we brought one of the biggest rock bands out of India in September. There was 1,000 people, auditorium, all packed. They had a bunch of things that they were asking for, and it rained on me. And then I was like, I don't think we can do that. And they took it, and they went with it. So I think that does work. You don't always have to be very responsive, for sure. I mean, from what I have.
I think the worst thing that I'll be vulnerable here, the worst thing that I did in my first few sales calls as a mortgage agent was a client came to me, it was peak of the market, they wanted to buy $1 million house and a $70,000 salary, and I laughed at them. Laughed as in, I didn't, not like that, but my first reaction was, or something which, and I immediately, I come from a B2B sales background, right? So I immediately was, I lost, and they did not close with me.
Yeah.
They have been following me for a long time because and they did not, and I knew immediately where I lost them.
Yeah.
It was that smirk that I did, and I never did that again. It was the first time that I did it, and I did not do it again, purely because I know that this is an immediate loss that I will have, and nothing can save that.
Such an important point. This is why just the first 3 seconds of control is important. Don't say anything, compose yourself, calm down, and then speak. And you'll be shocked how good you will do. Try it out for a week and let's see what happens, okay? 2 more questions and then let's wrap up.
Yeah. Yasser, do you have any exercises on voice modulation? Like, you know, there's talking from the throat, there's talking from the chest, you know, which has a bit more depth to it.
Right.
Do you recommend something that a person can do in private or?
Yeah, one of the things that you can do is, if you can try this with me right now, in fact, everyone can try this. Take your hand, please, one of them, and put this on your belly. And then put the other hand on your chest like so. Don't change anything about the way you breathe. I just want you to observe which rises more when you breathe. Observe it for a few seconds. Is it the chest? Is it the stomach? Or maybe they're equal? Stomach? Okay. Chest? Okay. Raise your hand if it's your chest. Raise your hand if your stomach. Okay. So if you want to project your voice, you want to try breathing with your stomach. So I want you to imagine, in fact, I'm going to demonstrate this. When you have more air in your belly, you're able to project the words with a lot more power. So let me show you what it would sound like with, in fact, why don't you come on up? Let me just explain it to you. Come on up real quick. I want you to stand here and put your hand in your belly, please. Don't be ashamed, it's okay, I've got it too. Just face the audience. I'm going to ask you to just blow out air when I ask you. Blow out all the air from your mouth till it's completely gone. Your stomach will tighten up. And then I just want you to tell us about your day. Okay? Exhale completely, all the way out. Keep going. Just when you think it's out, keep going. Let's tell us about your day.
I had a great day with you know, in the coaching session with Yasser. He taught me a lot of things about.
Is there any power in his voice? There's no air, right? So
difficult for me to
and you're probably cramping in your stomach, right? So what I want you to do now is when you inhale, think about when you inhale, there's a coil that's coiling up in your stomach, okay? When your belly is completely out full of air, when you speak, all the words come out with the breath, like a coil springing up. So it's gonna sound like this. My name is Yasser, okay? Same exact thing. So let's take a deep breath in the belly.
My name is Gaurav.
Do you see a difference? Let's try one more time. I want you to try the same thing, project more, okay? Deep breath.
My name is Gaurav. I had an amazing day today learning from Yasir.
How do you sound? Give him my hand, everybody. Have a seat, have a seat. So whenever you can, try to speak from your diaphragm, your belly. You'll project a lot more.
Have you had history of vocal music training?
No. In fact, when I was a kid, my voice was so high-pitched that my friends would use me to call other boys in the class pretending to be a girl. like, hey, this is Sarah, I have a crush on you. Like, I would talk like that, and then I hit puberty, and that went out the window. So, unfortunately not. Okay, last question. Who's got the last question?
I did have a bunch of other questions.
Go ahead. Why don't you run?
Yes, fine. So, the one question was, one of the very important aspects of being able to get business done is to be able to read the room.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about it? What would be your one thing that you say for people to follow to be able to read the room that they're in?
Define read the room. Let's get the definition down.
Body language, if something, because it's always a push-pull in conversations. You want to say things which are right, but right always doesn't mean getting you the business done.
Right.
So to be able to understand if you have their attention, if something's going for you, against you, and then maybe in order to pivot accordingly.
Few things here. One, remember I said most of our feelings about what people are thinking in a room are probably not correct. So if I look at people and they're just looking at me stern like that, I don't want to assume I'm boring them. So you don't want to immediately, oh, should I stop? Is this bored? Now you look insecure, right? What I like doing is I like doing check-ins with people. So it sounds like XYZ, or let me stop here for a second. It sounds like you had a question. That way I'm reading the room. And I stop to pause to have a conversation. You will notice this is a presentation. How many times have I stopped in the middle to ask you a question and have a conversation with you? That's reading the room, right? If I see you smiling or making a joke, I'll just come and give you a fist bump. That's me engaging with the room. So the purpose of me engaging the room is if I see an opportunity for connection, if I can tell someone wants to say something or add something, but they don't quite have, they're a little shy, I'll give them an opportunity to do that. Or if I see an opportunity to use humor or add humor, then I will do that. The only way you can do it is if you're actually looking at people. Most of the time when you're presenting, you just want to go down your own agenda and you don't even look at other people. Half the time, someone's got their phone out the entire time, they're not paying attention, and you're not reading the room. So as long as people have their attention on you and they're listening, try to make them part of the conversation, just like I did in this presentation.
Beautiful. Okay. This happens a lot of times when somebody you're talking to is you start off the call being super excited about the entire process because you got to be excited about your own product.
Correct.
And somebody you're talking to is super, I would say,
timid?
Yes, one words, monosyllables.
Right.
It kind of gets difficult to continue that discussion or have the other person feel excited about the process.
Right.
What does it take to be able to match, and sometimes when somebody is throwing questions at you, you want to slow things down.
Right.
In order to go totally opposite and convince people.
Right.
What would you say is required, or how to practice, or to get into this practice to be able to either match or go totally opposite to someone's pace?
So there's two questions here. One is about the pacing, and the other one was about too many questions coming at you.
Let's talk about only the pace part. How do you go totally opposite or match somebody's pace in a conversation?
So depending on what emotion and pace they bring in, you don't always want to match it. So for example, if someone shows up to a call completely depressed, are you going to talk for 30, 40 minutes in a depressed tone? It's like if a stand-up comedian goes to a completely dead audience, is he going to just start talking like, obviously not, right? So it's your job to raise the energy of the room. Most of the times I've noticed it's a trust issue. They don't feel comfortable enough in that scenario to voice themselves, to speak more. How can you do that? I like to incentivize people to talk more. So for example, if they're giving me one-word answers, I'll say, listen, I love how you're really concise. I'm gonna need some more details to be able to help you better. Is it okay if you flesh this out for me? Create that expectation. Then the second thing is, ask them questions to which the answer is a story. So if I say, what do you do for a living? I work in real estate. Tell me about how you got into real estate. Now they'll tell me the whole story about how they got into it. More words coming out of their mouth. The more they speak, the more you can pick and choose and create threads out of that conversation. So trust and story-based questions.
I think this is great. If you don't mind.
No, go for it. I'm being interrogated. No problem. Too many questions being thrown at me.
Go ahead.
I think this one we already had answered, how to not turn something that anybody is saying into a monologue. I think we spoke about, but the take pauses in between and all. Is there anything else?
In what setting? Like, is the question don't just take over and just talk endlessly?
Yeah, so like let's say again, everything is directed at when we get into discovery calls with our clients.
Right.
And then you want it to be conversational.
Right.
You don't want it to be just a monologue of somebody just throwing things at you and just going on forever. And then in the end, they just
well, in sales specifically, you as a salesperson doesn't want to do most of the talking. You want them to be doing the talking. But raise your hand if you've ever met a prospect who won't shut up. They just keep talking, right? So I like to say, hey, I know you have a lot to share. Can I just pause here to make sure I understand what you've said so far? And then you take the conversation, right? So I will often incentivize them by saying, in order to help you, I will need this. I know you have a lot to share. Is it okay if we pause here? I have a couple of questions about this, then we can move on. Take back control of the conversation. Otherwise, they just keep going on and on because most people don't know how to structure their thoughts.
Okay, but how about the other aspect as well, when the other person is not talking at all, and it's just you who's talking and you don't want it that way?
That's when you ask a story-based question. So when you establish, why does this person not feel enough safety to talk to me casually? Because you can put this person in front of their friends and family, they will talk no problem. Why are they on guard right now? How can I disable that? Personally, I love using humor. If they don't know who you are, you use humor, immediately all the walls come down. So sometimes people do that to me and I'll say, wow, you're a man of few words, aren't you? All of a sudden, they start smiling. Okay, well, in order to help you more, is it okay if I ask you some questions and we can flesh this out? Okay. And then I have their permission and I continue.
And this happens a lot when there's a couple sitting across us.
There's a what?
There's a couple in a discovery call or an important call, and the one person, usually the male member, is speaking a lot.
The dominant one.
And the other one is not. But in a real estate transaction, the other one is equally important.
And she won't voice her concern in front of you?
Yes. And then, like you said, humor. And it's not everyone's cup of tea, I also feel, and you should not do it. But I almost, and this is one thing that I, say everyone, who's like that, and I say that it's almost like CRA breathing my neck right now. Like, I know that, this might be a lot to take in, but I would love to hear your point of view. And look at that other person, and, ask them if this was something that was too fast for them. So I feel that you have to make both the people comfortable, and in some conversations, one person is too much.
Right.
And it just overwhelms, because there are two people talking and then the third person, and they are also.
So here's a suggestion. I'm not sure if it will work, but it works really well for me in public speaking settings. When I go to a corporate environment and I'm doing a public speaking workshop, the CEO wants me to come and train the managers. The managers do not want to be there. They're the ones who need it most, and they're like, no, this public speaking thing. So everyone in the room just hates the fact that they're there. So I have to work my way backwards from that room, right? So most of the time, they're just staring at me quietly, checking their emails on the side. So I have to get them to open up one by one. So the way I do that is through humor. Now, humor does not mean make jokes, by the way. Big difference. What I do is I just think, how can I amuse myself so this person likes me? If they like me, they're more open to sharing. The second thing is, when I'm doing those sessions, the longer the conversation goes and they sit quiet, the more they're being trained to stay quiet. So let's say if I speak in front of an audience and I delivered this presentation to you, for the first 2 hours, it was just me. And after the end of 2 hours, I said, any questions? You've just sat quiet for 2 hours. Now you're looking at everyone, who's going to be the first one to raise their hand? No one wants to be there. There's a lot of anxiety in the room. So similarly in your conversation, can you have them talk right at the top of the conversation, any quick question, so they're trained that they're going to be involved in this discussion as well? I'm not sure, you probably know better, but we're trying out.
We do that quite often, actually.
What is that?
We do that quite often, actually.
Okay, good.
Conversations with clients. It's like after let's say I explain a certain portion, I always ask like, okay, do you have any questions so far?
Right.
You know, and then they come up with, okay,
Right.
we didn't get this, we didn't get that, or it comes to the next question which you would have explained anyway, so it ties down really well and then brings both of them in the conversation.
Good. Looks like that works.
Yeah, that definitely does.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, Pat.
So something that happens quite often in our team meetings is that we don't want to participate enough.
We don't want to participate?
Yeah.
Okay.
The agents, whenever Arco or Nav want us to be part of an example or
Yeah.
do like a role play situation, we're always very timid, even though we all know each other.
Right.
How do you have advice for us or for Arco and Nav to get us to
Well,
participate more?
I want you to tap into, do you feel this way?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, well, you're not going to admit it in front of everyone here, but let's imagine you do, okay? If you were in your headspace when you're asked to participate and you want to internally say no, what is happening in your brain that makes you want to say no? What do you think it is?
Always like scared of being judged, all those things.
Yeah. Scared of being judged. These people are going to be with me, around me all day, every day. If I say something incorrectly, I'm going to have to see them again. Now they know my status in society is now lower. So in a very real way, you're afraid of being judged because of your status in society. What people will think about you. It comes back to survival. But again, is it a fact or feeling? It's a feeling, right? So most of us, we over-index on how bad we will do and we under-index on how good we actually are because we're trying to protect ourselves. The only way to overcome that is to do it enough times where you learn, shit, I didn't die. This is okay. This is safe. I can do more of this. And that's called exposure therapy. The most effective way to deal with any sort of phobia or fear.
And just so you know, and this is for everybody, you're never judged, so always be very participative, please. It's nice.
That's not entirely correct.
Yeah.
You are judged, they just won't say it out loud. That's we can't help it. We're always judging. It's just part of human nature, right?
This is going to be the last one, and
Okay.
thank you very much for putting up with all these questions.
What time is it, by the way?
It's 4:27.
You guys sacrificed a Canada match today for me. You know that?
Canada's losing 2-0, so it's
Oh.
yeah.
Okay, good thing you guys are here then.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Probably Canada's losing because we're not there.
Yeah, exactly.
This happens all the time in any conversation that we get into with our clients or
Right.
leads or any cold calls. We start off the call with an intention, like you said, but then I think we attach ourselves too close to what the outcome should be to be able to be open to that conversation. How do you? And I personally feel that the best conversations or the best negotiations happen when you detach yourself, when you're able to detach yourself from the outcome,
Right.
or you're able to walk away from a certain reward, because otherwise you're always leaning in. How do you detach yourself from an outcome when you're starting a conversation with a prospect, lead, or client?
I'm going to give you an answer you probably don't expect, which is I still struggle with that. It's still a problem for me. So I haven't entirely figured out for myself. I have the tendency of, before a big presentation or even something like this, I tend to over-rehearse like crazy. And it comes from my need for control of things going a certain way. So if I rehearse enough times, maybe people will react a certain way, maybe I'm more likely to get this certain behavior that I want them to get. And I have tried many times to detach myself from it. What I find is I become apathetic, and I don't care enough. So it's either I care way too much about the outcome, or I don't care at all and I sound sloppy. Personally, I haven't figured out the answer to that. So I tend to lean on the overly attached to the outcome side of things, because then I just put in way more effort. I'm never disappointed because I don't have expectations, but I know I did everything I possibly could. So for example, if I prepared for this presentation and you guys thought this was a dud, I would have thought, well, I can't control the way they respond. I did everything I could do. So the only distinction is I'm not attached to the outcome, but I am quite focused on how I want it to go, what direction I want it to go. So to summarize, I don't exactly have a solution for that problem. Right? I want to be honest, I just don't have it.
Can I ask the last question if you have?
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is done. I'm done. Yeah.
Okay. Last question. So you've been saying that you were not like this the way you are.
Correct.
You've practiced, and and 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you were
Right.
completely opposite, right? So when you started practicing and when you had that, like switch moment, how and when did you feel that now you're ready?
I still don't feel it.
I know, like it's every day you learn, right? And then when was that day one for you when you thought that, okay, I'm gonna jump in, I'm gonna take that plunge and I'm just gonna like stand in front of you?
Okay, I'm just gonna transition into my closing story because it fits perfectly into what you just asked, okay? So what you should know about me is my family, we come from a very long line of educators. So my grandfather in Pakistan, he was a founder of one of Pakistan's first engineering universities. So he spent his entire life talking about the importance of education, and he worked till the age of 85 at the university, all day, every day. When he passed away, my dad took over, and now he's a vice chancellor of the university, so he's at the university all the time. He is terrified of public speaking. He will never do it, but he's the kind of person when, if he walks into the room, he just has this aura. Immediately, everyone gravitates towards him. He makes jokes, and he has that type of personality. But I was not like my dad or my grandparents because I was very shy. I was very skinny, very short for my age, and I had really messed up teeth. So when I went to school, it made me a very easy target for bullies. They would see I'm this short, skinny kid. They would make fun of me. And when I opened my mouth, they would see my teeth. They would make fun of me. So the consistent message I was getting is, Yasser, if you are invisible, then you are safe. If you are quiet, then you are safe. If you appear in front of people, if you open your mouth, then you are unsafe. So it just makes more sense that you're quiet, tucked away somewhere in the corner. So that was pretty much my entire life, right? And I still remember we would be sitting on this dinner table, and a lot of my relatives at a desi dinner party, they would look at my dad and they would say, why doesn't your son say anything? Why is he so quiet all the time? And I even remember one specific relative said, he's not like his granddad, is he? And when you hear that as a kid, it just really sinks into your heart, right? And my dad would listen to this. He would never say anything, but he would smile. But it wasn't out of amusement. He was smiling because internally I could tell he was ashamed. But obviously he's not going to tell his son, right? Hey, I'm ashamed you're not particularly talented at anything. So during my college years, I was very introverted, and my dad decided Pakistan is not the environment for this kid. I'm going to save all my money, and I'm going to send him to Canada, hope to God he makes something of himself. So he sends me to Canada. I arrive, and I have this chip on my shoulder because I spent all this money being here. I have no talent. All my cousins get better grades than me. And I was so lonely that I went on Google in my first week in Canada, and I typed in how to make friends. This was in 2016, okay? And there was this meetup group that popped up, and it took every ounce of my courage. Okay, I don't know anyone here, let me just show up. So I go to this meetup group at 8 p.m., I walk in, there's about 35, all of them are white people in the room, and I'm thinking, wait, this is not my environment, I don't know if I should be here. And I'm stepping back, and someone sees me, and they say, oh, we've got a guest today. Why don't you come on up and introduce yourself to the club? I'm thinking, what club? And I look back, public speaking club. Like, oh, of all the places I could have been at, this is the last place I wanted to be at. So now I'm almost blanking out. I'm standing in front of 35 people in a new country I've never seen before. I don't know what I've said to this day. I blank out and I sit back down. I'm like, Yasser, this is why. Stay at home, play your PlayStation, never leave the house. That's the life that's meant for you, right? So as the session ends, I'm leaving. This woman who's leading the session, she comes up to me and says, Yasser, are you coming back? What do I say when you don't want to commit to something? What do you say? I'll think about it. I'll check my horoscope. I'll ask my grandma, ask my mother-in-law when the universe are in line. I've got so much going on. So I said all those things, and she immediately caught me in my bullshit and said, Yasser, 23 years ago, I was exactly where you're at. I can see your face, you're terrified. I promise you, if you just keep coming back week after week and you practice your public speaking, you're going to get better. And because I didn't have friends at the time, I figured, okay, this is the only woman who's taken some sort of trust in me and she's helping me out. I came back the next week and the next week. 2 weeks later, I won my first public speaking contest. But it's like 9 people in the room, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, the other 8 probably sucked. They felt bad for me. I was the new guy. Then I won the next one, and then the next one, the next one. Then people at my university said, Yasser, you're that public speaking guy, right? Can you come and do a workshop on public speaking? Can you come and train our faculty? Can you come and train this small business? And I'm thinking, when did I become the public speaking guy? When did that happen? But people started to perceive me differently. So I didn't know that, but still in my mind, I didn't believe it, right? And over time, I practiced enough times, many years later, now I have this following and I do it for a living. 7 years after leaving from Canada, my dad in Pakistan, he's sitting in his university room, and one of his faculty members goes to his office and says, we have a speaker coming from Canada in this auditorium. I think you should be there. And my dad's like, nah, I have way too much going on. Just send one of our officials. And the faculty member's like, no, I think you should really be in this auditorium. And my dad is like, okay, what's going on? So my dad goes, he sits in the auditorium, he waits. Who is this motivational speaker? And 5 minutes later, he sees Yasser Khan walking on stage, and my dad is like, so it's 400 people. He hasn't seen me in years. I speak for about an hour, and the entire audience erupts. They start clapping. And afterwards, I sit right next to my dad. I look over at my dad, and I'll still never forget this. If I'm visualizing his face, he was doing something I've never seen him do before. He was smiling, but not because he was ashamed, because he was proud. In that moment, I thought, this is my greatest accomplishment. I have given back to my parents. I have made them proud. I finally had their validation. But it was all about me, my journey, what I'm going to do. What I didn't predict was what happened next. My dad hates public speaking. He will never do it. 7 days after my presentation, my mom sends me a link, and it's my dad speaking on national television in Pakistan, talking about the university. And then he's speaking at the graduation ceremony. Then he's delivering speech. Now you can't get the mic away from him. He just keeps talking all the time, right? That is when I knew that the work we do is important. Not only did I change my life, but I was able to change my dad's life. And now we have 3 generations of educators. And it reminds me that when you become a good communicator, everyone around you benefits. Because whether you're making videos on social media, you're talking to your clients, you want to be valuable, right? But you cannot be valuable if you are not memorable. People cannot follow what they forget. So I hope we've learned a lot today. The one main thing you walk away with today is don't just worry about what you say, but what they remember. Because it's not what you say, it's what they remember. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. If you want my autograph, I'll be in the back over there. Okay? All right. Thank you, everybody.
Now, if you would like to learn to speak like a CEO and do it in record time, check the video description for our resources and classes. I'll see you in the next one.